What's going on, guys? Welcome to Revolver Live, the gaming podcast that says forget the past, the future belongs to the nerds. I'm the Beastly Gamer. Today I'm joined by the Revolver Live team. Briar Rabbit, what's going on this week, man?
You forgot my official title, Briar Rabbit, as featured in PC Gamer Magazine and Forbes.
Forbes.
We're adding them to the list.
The show.
We're adding them to the list.
If Forbes mentions you, we definitely need to have an after party show. And I'll make sure I give you my P.O. box, my checking account number.
Briar, to be fair, I'm surprised you can talk at all with how sore your lips must be after that many dicks that you've sucked. It was Bungie at first. You've now spread onto the entire editorial staff of Forbes and PC Gamer. I'm shocked.
Luckily, it was a even trade, Gary. So to get with the PC Gamer dick sucking, I had to completely abandon the Bungie dick sucking, and in fact, I'm now banned from any Bungie dicks whatsoever.
Well, to be totally honest, I've watched Briar jump from dick to dick for a few years now. And he's effectively jumped from console dicks to PC dicks in the last year and a half. So I think it's well deserved.
Dick sucking is just better at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Objectively.
Yeah.
Objectively. Just make sure you floss and use mouthwash.
I've heard the faster the frames, the sweeter the dick, but that's just a saying that I live my life on.
And let me just say, before we get started with the rest of the show, bagadicks.com, our amazing sponsor, thank you so much for the gratuity. My wife wants to know how come she can't enjoy her bag of dicks without hearing the song nonstop. She said, "Are you joking?" I said, "No." Just for the people who watched last week who don't understand what happened, it was a gag played on me by bagadicks.com and Gary Diaz, where they sent me a rigged box of a bag of dicks. So what was supposed to happen is when I pulled out the tab, it was going to sing the Bag of Dicks jingle nonstop forever. And unfortunately for me, when I found out and I put the battery back in, this is absolutely true. And I gave it to Kate. She listened to it for about 8 minutes. And then she looked at the box and she said, "You were serious?"
8 minutes to look at the box.
Yeah, she was doing other stuff, in the bedroom, and she said, "You're serious? They really sent you one that was
had
hacked?"
sex with Beastly twice, and then wait a minute, this seems like it's been going on for a long time.
Three times, right? 3 times. You got to squeeze that third one in. Oh man!
In my defense, okay, it didn't go on forever. It was set to go on for only 3 hours. So
I'm sorry, I didn't sit
3
there and
hours
wait.
is acceptable.
I'll make sure I do that first thing tomorrow at work in my office. So, Briar, congratulations on being mentioned in PC Gamer and the aforementioned Forbes magazine. Jesus, we do need
and Time Magazine's most attractive, top 30 attractive Twitch streamers that are already taken. They're already married.
So my mom made that cover. That wasn't official.
Oh.
Thanks, Mom. Gary Diaz.
hello.
This week, man.
I'm doing great. I've decided to leave my incubation quarantine pod for today and give you a little bit of festive cheer behind. You have a beautiful Christmas tree, which I don't know if you guys can see it there, but it's loaded with high heels and pink balls. So it is very much.
I was going to ask, what's up with those high heels?
That was my idea.
You got stripper novelties hanging from your.
Well, they're actually my shoes. I have deceptively small feet. I take them off the tree and just pop them straight on.
Well, I gotta say, I really enjoyed the backdrop, Gary. I think it's going to even itself out. Your elitism with the festive background is going to come together today, and you're going to be a normal person this week. Congratulations, Wilson. How you feeling this week, man?
I'm feeling all right, but I keep staring at all the hot pink on that Christmas tree behind Gary, and I can't look away.
Nice.
It is. It's
very hot pink.
It's very pretty.
It is. It is gorgeous. No, man, I haven't been up to much. We actually, there it is. There's the high heel.
That makes me.
Wow, look at that. It's all. Looks like it's embroidered and everything.
These Bayonetta shoes. He got Bayonetta shoes on his Christmas tree.
Yeah, no doubt. That's exactly. This week, purchased a PC for the lady for Christmas.
Yeah,
so
I heard that you didn't get her a desk though, you dick.
Just make her cross leg on the floor like a Japanese gamer. Like, what is this?
He got her down there doing yoga.
Fucked that one up. Didn't even get her a desk, you dick.
I know. Forcing her to eat with chopsticks no matter what the food. Now she's got a game on the floor.
Fucked up part is now I feel kind of bad. Like you just kind of exposed the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to. I was just making fun.
No matter
what to say now, I'm taking it back.
Because after the show, when Revolver Live episode 21 is gone, you're going to walk around the corner and Sam's going to be on the floor looking at you. She won't even know what to say. You know what? All you got to say is Briar Rabbit and continue on with your night.
It was Briar's fault. He said, "You're already getting her a computer. Don't get her a desk." That's what I'm going for.
Wilson, it's true.
I am plenty capable of getting myself into trouble, Wilson.
You're right.
Oh, it's so good to be back, guys. Revolver Live is a gaming podcast with 6 revolving topics. You can be a part of the show by submitting your topics for consideration at revolvergamescast@gmail.com. That's revolvergamescast@gmail.com. We go live every Sunday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/Briar Rabbit. That's twitch.tv/Briar Rabbit. The video is then shared on YouTube at Briar Rabbit's amazing YouTube channel and my channel, Beastly Gamer. If you're unable to see the live feed of the video or the video formats on YouTube, check us out in podcast form on Podbean, iTunes, or your favorite podcast service provider. With that, welcome to Revolver Live episode 21.
21!
We're old enough to drink, and we're old enough to do some other stuff that Gary talked about pre-show.
Only in the UK, though.
For those curious, it was sodomy.
I'm glad. I've been hearing good things about sodomy. I can't wait.
The funny thing is that he's not kidding.
This was the conversation before we went live. I swear to you, this is the conversation. Gary, he's like one of the encyclopedias from hell. The stuff that you just know you would never want to know, he happens to know off the top of his head. Oh,
he probably Googled it today. You play games with him. He's got one screen playing the game. He's got another screen next to him where he's on Wikipedia just researching the most fucking ridiculous shit. Yeah, it's awesome.
He's like the NC-17 rated version of Wikipedia.
It's kind of like that scene in Fifth Element. I don't know. Again, it's a throwback reference here, but it's where she's like flicking through every page in the dictionary, just absorbing it. Like you say, I do that on Urban Dictionary and just kind of just learn.
Picture Johnny Five from Short Circuit. Input, need more input. And he's just flying through everything for even further old school, further back.
Yeah, well, we're always happy to have you around, Gary. You bring a degree of knowledge that no one ever thought was coming. And to be totally honest, after the show, I'm going to tell my wife, 21, old enough for sodomy in the UK. And she's going to say, fuck. Thanks, Gary. All right, so episode 21, we got some interesting topics. And before we do that, we're going to do some house cleaning. Would you guys like to get started with our introductions for this week?
Well, first of all, I think that our glorious sponsor, which is mentioned, needs their ad read. Because there are times in your life when you want to give that special someone the perfect gift, a gift so precious and majestic that mere flowers, perfume, or aftershaves just won't cut it. No, for times like these, computers and desks need to happen. If you obviously get the computer but don't want to spring for the desk, then what you can do is show them the caliber of your persons and your true intentions, and that, ladies and gentlemen, can be achieved through a small jewelry box filled with a variety of coloured male genitalia. Bagaddicts.com offers an anonymous mail order service where you, yes, you, can send anyone you desire some purple-headed yogurt slingers. They have a smorgasbord of products to suit each and every one of your specific pork sword needs, including the brand new Box O Singing Dicks, which BC had the pleasure of listening to for over 3 hours last week. Revolver are pleased to announce our sponsorship and will be offering you, our perverted and debauched listeners, the exclusive and frankly ludicrous promotion of 20% off any order from Bagaddicts.com using code RevolverLive. I can't guarantee that the recipient of your Giggle Stick love package will offer you the sexual favours you so desire, but let's be honest, it probably can't hurt your chances too much either. If you're not convinced about, or if you are convinced about the perfect marriage of penis and confectionery, head straight to bagofdicks.com and remember your Revolver Live promo code for that sweet discount on your order of baloney ponies.
Thank you, bagofdicks.com. I want to say this. No matter what happens, every week when Gary reads that, it's the fucking first time.
I was just gonna say, I look forward to it every week.
It's good stuff.
I love it.
It is something that it's spiritually uplifting. It's like, you just had a great day, just came out of church. And it's because you heard Gary read our introduction.
The Church of Bagofdicks.com.
It's amazing. It's great.
I didn't read my wedding vows with that much conviction, but when you truly believe something, it's easy to deliver it with poignancy. To me,
it just comes natural
so
too.
True. Gary, you're so
very
right.
natural. Like just when I think I've like heard everything in that ad read. You hear like baloney pony.
Yogurt slinger.
Yeah, man.
Purple-headed
stuff, Gary.
Oh,
so
I've
Wilson,
never slung yogurt either. So I mean, I haven't been using my in the proper way.
We know you've been a dick to your other half this week with the desk, but you've also been a dick to everyone else on this show. Yes. Golf with friends. Yes. Fucking Wilson.
Yeah, fuck you, Wilson.
What the fuck? I won 1 round out of 3, and you guys are going to come at me? What is this?
Listen, man, this is called the Revolver Team Up. Revolver, this is when we're going to vote. You fucked us last week because you knew what the hell was going on. You may not have won every game, but I feel like you lost them on purpose because he was making just unbelievable. Listen, last week we played Golf with Friends on PC. Probably one of my favorite PC games now. I played it about 4 or 5 times since. And Wilson was so damn good at it. And he had to slow down because we started to notice. Briar started to notice. Gary noticed. And I love Wilson to death. And I noticed in the end, I said, this fucking guy. We'd start off in a playing field, and you couldn't even see where the ball was supposed to end up. Wilson would pivot, strike his ball, jump over a valley, and say, I got it!
Hole in one! Hole in one!
What the hell is happening?
Look, man, there's obviously a game of skill, all right? Come on. I mean, and some things you're just born with. And apparently golf is one of those. I'm thinking about going golfing in real life.
I think you are a savant in golf. It's like Rain Man. I don't know how many toothpicks you'd be able to count.
Golf with my friends.
Yeah, you're definitely Rain Man of golf with my friends.
Hey, can we add that to the intro, Beasley? Can we get that as a?
Yes,
the Rain Man of golf with friends. I mean, I sat there, and to me, it was like a recreation of White Men Can't Jump in Golf with Friends. Like, he was the geeky Woody Harrelson sitting on the side pretending not to play, and just got up there and just absolutely fleeced us for everything we had. We were shocked. Talking about Revolver plays, what the hell is it? Why were we playing Golf with Friends?
I'll tell you what,
What is this thing?
I started winning one game, and all of a sudden my frame rate mysteriously dropped to about 18.
18.
I saw that.
I was pretty suspicious that maybe Wilson's got an in with the developers here and was, working some backdoor magic, which is now legal in UK.
I was scripting. I was all up in it. You know what I mean? I'm that competitive. You know what I mean? Like forget the Crucible, forget Overwatch, Call of Duty, all that. Where I really get competitive is Golf with Friends.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty evident. And let me just say, guys, Gary Diaz did make the reference to White Men Can't Jump, and when it comes to Golf with Friends, Black men can't golf, because I came in last place on every single game, and I felt good about it. Yeah,
really playing up to the stereotype there, Beasley. Well done.
It made me feel good, I don't mind, bringing up the rear, just making sure you guys get where you need to go first. And, I'm here to build you guys up emotionally, spiritually. And when I see you guys put it in the hole, just like I would in a train, I come put mine in the hole last. So it's true. It's true.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, speaking of Revolver plays, what are we playing on Tuesday, Beasley?
Oh, I'm so excited to announce this. I announced it on Twitter, and I hadn't had a chance to play it. I actually started playing it yesterday for the very first time. Fortnite Battle Royale. We're going to be playing this on the PS4. I believe it does work with crossplay with PC as well. I started playing it with my wife and my sons. Nova played. Both of my sons played. My girl's got a PS4 for the holidays, so
wait a minute.
Everybody in the house is playing it.
It works with crossplay? Like, that game has PS4 players playing against PC players?
It does, apparently.
Wow.
I think only in group play, because you have to invite someone into your group and queue from there. It's like there's a weird workaround to it. It's not just like open crossplay. Mm-hmm. So you open your group and you invite someone into it on another platform.
No, crossplay aside,
Beasley will be opening the group.
Crossplay aside, I'll be really excited that we're actually going to be playing something that's a little team building. I kind of feel like Golf with Friends was like knock your friend down a peg or two.
I feel like the team got built. It was the three of us against you.
Yeah. And this week we're going to bring you back into the team.
On a probationary status.
I'm just going to throw every game. I'm just going to put walls in front of you when you're trying to kill people.
Am I the only one here who doesn't know what Revolver Live is? What is it? Why do we do this? What is it?
You mean Revolver Plays?
Yeah, Revolver Plays. Sorry. How do I know where to find it? What is it? Why do we do it?
Revolver Plays is a new segment that we are putting out for our viewers and for ourselves. As Wilson said, is kind of a team building exercise where every Tuesday at 6:00 p.m. Eastern, we get together on the same place, the same channel, twitch.tv/Briar Rabbit, and we live stream us playing a video game. Every week, one of the hosts will pick the next game for the following week. Last week, Wilson picked Golf with Friends, and we all know why. And this week, I chose Fortnite because I really love PUBG, and I had never played this game. My kids play it all the time. And I was hearing a lot of good things about it, and it's something we could all play. It's free to play everywhere. And so I figured, hell, why not? And now I'm really depressed that I didn't. So next week, who's going to be picking the next game? Briar, you or
I'll pick for, on next Sunday's show, I'll pick for the following Tuesday. So this Tuesday evening, we usually get together around 5 p.m. Eastern to start playing, 6 p.m. Eastern, depending on kind of when everybody gets home and gets fed and all that stuff. And we'll start playing at that point. And this week will be Fortnite. Next week will be something else. It'll be, we'll just kind of randomly go through the games, trying to be as inclusive as we can with all 4 hosts in all the platforms that we can get everybody on. And Fortnite was a great choice because everybody can play it.
And it's so fun. Oh, I can't wait till next week. So we're going to have a real discussion. It might be a topic on you guys' thoughts on Fortnite versus PUBG. It's a big thing on the internet, YouTube. There's tons of videos accenting one versus the other, the pros and cons, what one might do better than the other. So we're going to have 2 hours to play this week. Hopefully when we come back for episode 22 of Revolver Live, we'll have some deep thoughts about these contrasting games.
Yeah, super commit this week.
I did get some requests to start uploading that to YouTube, so maybe me and Beasley can both upload that to YouTube as well.
That'd be a good idea. I'm also going to commit this week and going to do a alternate perspective this week, so I think it'd be a good time to fire up the Revolver Live Twitch channel.
Nice.
And stream from that so you can get multiple angles of all the madness, all the ridiculousness. We'll be sure to pimp that out before Tuesday and while Briar is streaming, so you can drop by, give us a follow, get a different perspective, and we'll try to alternate hosts each week for that as much as we can, and even try to get it up and running in between Revolver plays, where we kind of want to get some people on there streaming throughout the week so you can get a little glimpse of some of the more personalities outside of here, and be cool.
Exciting news.
Look forward to that.
Exciting news. Okay, so we know what we're going to be playing next week. There is a little bit of Destiny news in our introduction. Mr. Diaz, would you like to get started on that?
Just a really quick breeze over. Obviously, we spoke Curse of Osiris last week. There was an update to Destiny 2. It's free to anyone who has the base game, so you don't need to have Curse of Osiris to it. Masterworks, it's effectively improvements on weapons, difficult to find, a bit of a grind. I'm having a ton of fun with it. How are you guys finding it? Are you enjoying it? Is it good? Is it bringing you back to the game?
It's cool. It's brought me back. I like it. It's nothing revolutionary. It's nothing too crazy, but it is satisfying when you put in some time and you do get a masterwork to drop, and hopefully it's for a weapon that you do like. If you don't, you can always dismantle them, save up those cores, and put it into a weapon that you once become masterwork. I'm excited to see where this evolves. Maybe potentially with the mod system that they're talking about working with. Maybe it'll help work. Maybe this is such a small change because of what they have planned for the mod system might go in tandem with it potentially. I don't know. Maybe not. It's kind of bringing me back, man. But honestly, really not really the only thing, but the thing that brings me back the most, and it sounds cheesy, is just playing with friends. You know what I mean? Playing with the homies, hanging out, having a good time. There's still a lot of changes that need to be made. I don't think it's the end all, but I think it's a start.
I haven't had a chance to try the Masterworks new DLC at all. There's been a huge Christmas holiday sale going on PSN. I'll let you guys know at the beginning of the week. I bought Street Fighter and all the DLC packs. I've been getting my game up, playing that. And also I bought a ton of PSVR games, and I fired that up over the weekend. I think Friday or Saturday, I fired that up and played for about 4 hours. I was playing Paranormal Activity today. So, I mean, I got a lot of other things going on, but I'm definitely going to hop back into Destiny very soon. This is the first time I haven't played Destiny in probably 4 or 5 days since it's come out. So,
well, Beasley, you mentioned Street Fighter. I heard that there's going to be a new Street Fighter that was announced that's supposed to have every Street Fighter ever. Yep. I'm pretty excited about that. You going to be hitting that up?
Oh, of course, man.
Dude, we should hit that up. I would love to.
Revolver plays that. Please.
It'd be an honor to get my ass whooped.
And Briar, this is old school Street Fighter, the stuff that you used to play when you were a teenager as well. Street Fighter Alpha, Alpha 2. It has
I heard about this announcement. It's not one of our topics, but I wouldn't mind talking about it because I'm a little bitter about this one. I just bought Street Fighter 2 for $40 on the Switch. And here comes another fucking collection that's gonna have like everything.
Everything. I'm
gonna be like, God damn, I'm buying Street Fighter again.
The one on Switch, I can't. I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I already have the exact same one, minus I think the 2 characters that they added on PS3. And on the PS3, it's the same resolution. So I was like, why would I just can't. I can't justify that purchase. I mean, I live in a house with people.
I bought it because I had a trip coming up and I wanted something to play on the plane and something easy to pick up and play while I'm like sitting in a lobby or waiting for.
I just couldn't imagine playing that with the controllers, the Joy-Cons. It seemed like you have to be, play with a pro on that thing.
The pro controller is way better, for sure.
It's the 30th anniversary one coming to Switch, though. I thought it was PS4, Xbox One, PC. I didn't even know if it was
coming to Switch. I thought it was coming to Switch.
I don't know. I might be.
Switch. No way.
I might be wrong.
Has all the Street Fighter 3.
Why couldn't it come to Switch?
It's just, I think it's way too much content, personally. That's what I think.
These games are like 25 years old.
Not that old, but
I mean, some of the older ones for Super Nintendo, you're looking at like the Super Nintendo era. You're looking at like
16
2 megabytes. You're looking at like 2 megabytes.
Dreamcast, like Street Fighter 3. That's Dreamcast era.
Can we use Chat Google here again? Is that a facility that we have available to us?
I heard it's gonna be really cool though. Like they're gonna have a lot of tell a lot of story and lore within these. It's not just going to be like here's the games. Like a lot of them are going to have
adding content to
it. Wow. They're going to have like cutscenes and like a story mode that like goes all the way back to the beginning.
Street Fighter Alpha is I love that series. I think it was like somehow an unloved series, but I really enjoy it. I didn't really dig on Third Strike all that much, or Street Fighter 3 basically all that much. I just did like the characters and the character design and the art style didn't appeal to me as much. Is it going to come with Street Fighter 4 as well?
No, I don't think that's on.
So it's.
I think it ends with
Street Fighter 1, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Alpha 2, Alpha 3,
and there's Street Fighter 3, Third Strike.
It's like it's quite a package, and if they're gonna
it has 3 Street Fighter 3s on it. All 3 versions of Street Fighter 3. So it's a serious game.
I might buy this, but if I buy it, I'll probably buy it for PC, so it's just an evergreen copy, so that when I buy a PlayStation 5, I'm not thinking I got to buy another one of these.
Yeah.
Smart. Well, I'll tell you what. If you guys get it on PC, I'll grab it on PC as well because this is a game I've never played any of you guys in a fighting game. I love to play you guys in Tekken, Soul Calibur, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, anything.
Wipe the floor with us, like no doubt about it. But
I'm just talking about the fun.
I love Street Fighter.
My Hadouken's strong.
Hadouken.
You ain't played me yet, brother.
Now I'm reminded of the Division. Gary Diaz, we all downloaded Division today. Division is right now I think $27 for the gold edition on Ubisoft. It's only that price for like 10 hours more or something like that. So me and Wilson both bought it and downloaded it. Gary met us in there and he gave us the hot tip for the Division is you change the voiceovers to the Japanese the Japanese dubbed voiceovers. And it adds so much to this game.
Really?
It is.
Yeah,
they're telling you something really basic, like you need to go down the street and take a left, and it's like Shingoku de do kodasai. Like it's all really like to the point, like, and you're like, oh my god, like it's really good.
Wow.
And you can
really
still play it.
does add.
The subtitles are all still English, and all the UI and everything's English. You don't change that. Wilson did. He went for the hardcore mode.
God. Oh God.
I know what the hell was happening.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, I changed all the text language on the screen, and I just started freaking out. And they both had to pause their game and like guide me back through the menu and get me to change it. It was awful. It was
fun
terrifying.
playing that game again. I haven't played it in a long time, but I'm looking forward to putting a little bit of time. I think after the show, I'll probably jump back in and try and level up a character, because I bought the PC version like a year ago, I feel like, and then returned it because it didn't run good on the current graphic card setup I had. I had two Radeon RX 480s running in Crossfire, and it just ran like trash. So I just returned it, and then I bought it again today because of the 1.8 update, and because it was so cheap on the Uplay store. And we're having a little bit of fun with it. I'm looking forward to getting back in. God damn, that game looks gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous game.
Pro tip, Uplay store, if you've got 100 Uplay points, you can cash them in for 20% off your basket. So if you pick that up, you can take another 20% off if you've pretty much ever played another Ubisoft game, because like 100 points you earn pretty much for turning the game on.
Right now, I just feel good supporting Ubisoft, too. Like the
Ubisoft
moves they're making, what they're doing right now, it's like the only company out there that I feel like they're worth supporting. You know, like they just feel like they're supporting their games. They're trying to do good by their consumers, by their fans, by their player base. I feel good. Supporting them.
I really like that you can use those Uplay points towards
that's cool.
saving. Like, that's genius. Like, you could do something in game that could potentially help save you some money down the line. Like when BC, I don't know if you're familiar with Uplay.
No, I thought that just meant I'm playing.
It's basically like
it's Steam, but
Ubisoft's
it's
version of
Ubisoft,
Steam.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you can get Ubisoft games. When you unlock achievements in a game, you get Uplay points. So each achievement is worth a certain amount of points. If you save up those points, you can use them to save like 20% on a game.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can use them to buy like stuff for games too. Can't you?
Yeah,
like,
DLC.
Cosmetics.
Like in the Division, there is some like cosmetic outfits, like a New York Firefighters outfit or something, and you can use your Uplay points to purchase that as well. So if you unlock the achievements in the game, you can then use that to purchase cosmetic outfits and DLC for that and other games.
That's
so it's a
genius, man.
It's a great system.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Well, I mean, I think that if it takes off, Steam's going to have to do something to. You know, of course, Uplay doesn't have the amount of games that Steam would have, but that's a very attractive promotion. It would really pull people towards playing more Ubisoft games.
Was Assassin's Creed Black Flag still free on there, Gary?
Yeah, that's still free right now. Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys are listening live, go hit that up.
I think it was only free for like 3 days. I think it might be till the 18th. In fact, I think 15th through the 18th, maybe. Or it might be 12th through 15th. It was 3 days of free for.
Yeah, I don't know if it still is, but go check it out.
I don't have.
But I definitely scooped it.
So I can't look.
All right, so moving on to our very first topic. This is going to be a short show for me, guys, unfortunately. But fortunately for me, today is my daughter's birthday. Nina turned 5, so you guys wish my 5-year-old happy birthday in the comments.
Happy birthday, Nina.
Happy birthday.
I'm going to be leaving at 7 today because we got some birthday shenanigans to do. And Gary is going to pick our next topic. I see you in our topics, Gary. Where would you like to go next?
I think we can roll quickly into games development sustainable, which is our first topic. Is games development sustainable? Ubisoft seem to be killing it as a publisher more than a developer and publisher. I guess they kind of do both, dependent upon what they are. So my question, or my topic that I'd like us to kind of dig into, is really around the whole thing about games development on the whole. I mean, studios are closing left and right. You know, Visceral Games, Lionshead Studios, Guerrilla Cambridge, Runic Studios, Telltale Games, which didn't close but had layoffs, Housemarque, who are not making their I guess, the genre of game anymore, which is like the bullet hell Metroidvania kind of game. Volition, again, the Agents of Mayhem developer, lost a ton of staff. You see developers moving towards shady ways of monetization, so loot boxes and really spurious DLCs that may not be worth the value, or cutting content out of games. And then you see people like Ubisoft who somehow are making it work, and CD Projekt Red, again, making it work. So in your mind, is games development sustainable anymore? The crunching concept of, you know, poor developers who will work 100+ hour weeks for 6 months before a game launches, only to have us tell them that it's a half-baked cookie and that it's a dead game and people should refund it. You know, it's not really a fair way to compensate someone who's put a lot of hours into building a game. What do you guys think? Is it a job that anyone would want to get into? Because applications are down 65%.
Well, I mean, I think that this is ubiquitous across many facets of our society. I think that the time that a developer or a person crafting something, putting into a particular project, it might not translate well on the consumer side, depending on the product that they're actually making. You mentioned CD Projekt Red. CD Projekt Red, of course, they spend a ton of time on their games, but their games are usually amazing. That's why it's working for them. If you spend 1 million hours developing a game, 1 million man hours, and you put it out, you know, in Game Informer, and you put it out in these video game magazines, how long it took, and people play it, and it's a subpar experience for them, or something, it's not something that they necessarily would gravitate toward, it's going to reflect that in society. And it might reflect poorly on your bottom line if people feel like, hey, this is an okay game. I saw someone playing it. It's not for me. It all depends on the genesis of your project. It all depends on the genesis of thought and the direction that developer wants to go with their project. And some of these developers create diamonds constantly. Naughty Dog, Rockstar, Ubisoft to a degree. Some of their games do well. I think Assassin's Creed has done well over the years.
What I think is so special about Ubisoft right now is that they don't necessarily drop diamonds right off the gate. They might drop a lump of coal
over
but
time.
Exactly.
Over time, they just keep supporting the shit
Rainbow
out of these
Six
games.
Siege, right?
Rainbow
You guys
Six
told me
Siege,
last
perfect
week.
example. Wildlands, Ghost Recon Wildlands,
Yep.
The Division.
For Honor.
Hold on,
man,
Briar.
the dedicated
For Honor.
service.
Now I have all those games. I played all of them briefly. I think I played Rainbow Six Siege for a day. Every game we just mentioned I have, and I played for less than a day on all of them because they were pretty crappy experiences. I remember Gary talking shit about me playing some of these games. Are you telling me that now these games are really good?
Well, Wildlands just got the Predator.
Ghost Recon.
The Predator
Now
is
they're
now
cool.
fucking running around.
You mean the Predator from the movies?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Predator from the movies has been added to the game.
They sprung for the license to the real
mean I
Predator.
can-
And
Rainbow
the thing
Six
is,
was one of the most popular games on Steam a couple of days ago.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's that game has just gotten more and more support as its life cycle has gone on. The Division just got update 1.8. We're almost 3 years after launch,
Yeah.
and it just got update 1.8. And by all accounts, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I was
this isn't
really
just
shocked.
limited to Ubisoft only
No.
games. So we spoke earlier about Mario Rabbids, which is a Ubisoft Nintendo crossover. They added versus battle modes to that as a free update. So that was already a knockout game. People loved it, and now you can play against your friends in online versus modes, which
Yeah,
is
I
free.
think
Seeing
game
here-
development, we're straying off topic. Game development is in fact sustainable, but you have to put out a good product because this game that you're selling right now is you're not just trying to sell this game, but you're also trying to sell the next game, right? And that's something that I think CD Projekt Red has done phenomenally. Is they put out a complete product, and then when they sell a DLC, they put out a complete product. They don't try and abuse the customer with microtransactions and like hidden fees and stuff like that, like so many games have now. When you go to a CD Projekt Red game, you feel like you are buying something from a trustworthy developer, right?
Absolutely.
And based on their past record, you also feel like you're going to get a quality product right at the get-go. The Witcher 3 had problems at launch. Like, it had real problems at launch. They did a lot to fix that game over time. But, they did stick with it. They put out 2 amazing DLCs, and they created one of the best games that I think has ever been.
Wow.
But I mean, if we're talking CD Projekt Red specifically here, just to add a bit of spanner to the mix, in Jason Schreier's book, Blood, Sweat and Pixels, he talks about the development of Witcher 3 at length. And CD Projekt Red are very, very open in the fact that they are based in the fucking sticks in Poland, where employment is very cheap. They pay very little to their staff. They said if you work here because you love to make games and you want to be involved in that, and they work very, very long hours. So they've said, there's no magic secret as to why they do it except the passion to bring a good game to life. But these guys,
that's the secret to games development. A guy who can write code can go make $200,000 a year writing for an office suite. ass sweep the legs about it. And then, or they can work double the hours for half the pay and make video games. Like, that's well known, right? It's like it's a thankless job. It's a hard job. But if that's your passion, then there's no other job for it.
Well, I think we're at like a couple things to say here real quick. I think like what we're at kind of an awkward stage of video games right now. I think things are starting to change, and people just need to catch up. And I think what's starting to change is being connected to your audience, whether it's through social media, whether it's through Twitch streams, anything. Developers are way more in touch with the player than they were a long time ago. Whereas before, you put the game out and you worry about that initial sale, and then people don't play that game anymore. Now, when people find a game they like, they want to continue to play it. So developers are forced to continue to support it. Another thing, too, is that I think we're in an era of companies having to learn from their mistakes, and not only learn from them, but act upon learning from them afterwards. And games like Division, Rainbow Six Siege, those are perfect examples of listening to your player base, taking the feedback, and implementing it correctly. And I wish that's something that Destiny 2 would do a little bit more of, like, could make the game a whole lot better. But it's like I said, I think we're at just a really awkward stage of game development now, and people have to listen to their player base to give people what they want, and if they want them to continue to play the game.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Wilson. 100% agree with you there. All right. So, any closing thoughts on this conversation, Gary Diaz?
I thought it was an interesting one to muse. I mean, I didn't want to go too deep on it because we've got a lot to talk about today, but it's just interesting that we're seeing people that we never thought in the industry, we never thought would disappear, are just vanishing. We're seeing studios that we thought were write-offs, like Ubisoft. Again, Ubisoft used to be a joke. There was the meme of Oopsie Soft when people thought they were a
I remember that.
We're seeing them, grow and evolve and take shape. So it's just interesting to see how some developers are thriving in this market and others are losing consumer confidence.
Well, you got to give Ubisoft a little bit of extra credit too, because they're fighting the Vivendi takeover as well. On top of that, they're winning over the hearts and minds of gamers. So they've got to have more stress on their plate than going through like the worst divorce of all time. They're basically fighting for their life and keeping consumers happy. And to me, that's a double whammy.
Well, it's not a current comparison, but you don't want to end up, you don't want to be the next Konami. You know what I mean? Yeah. Someone who was at the top and then down, you know what I mean? And a lot of that had to do with the way that they treated their employees and stuff. But like, I mean, when you get on top and you stay on top, you've got to do that by giving your fan base what they want.
Gamers have memories too, like
yep.
If a gamer feels fucked over by a company, they're going to remember that the next time that company is releasing a project. There's a lot of talk about EA and is it Battlefront?
Battlefront 2, yeah.
And one of the games in my social circle that's been really like kind of been looking forward to, really hyped up, is Anthem. And since the Battlefront fiasco, a lot of people are like, Anthem, we're looking forward to it, but it's an EA product. Is it just going to be a fucking another loot fest? Another loot box fest, and that's really concerning because players have that memory. But the CD Projekt Red is coming out with a new game, Cyberpunk, sometime in the future, theoretically. And people have the memory. Well, Witcher 3 was unfucking believable. Sure, it launched with some issues, but over time they kept supporting it. They made awesome DLC for it. This is whatever they charge for it, I'm buying. This is an easy pre-order for me because they've earned my trust, whereas EA has not, or Activision has not. I'm struggling with that right now with Bungie. Bungie is a company that used to have my trust absolute. But recently they've completely lost it.
Well, Briar,
I agree.
It's a double-edged sword, but I think it's a good thing in the end. EA is lauded now in public space as being one of the worst when it comes to video game publishing, especially when it comes to this loot box this whole fiasco. And I think that everyone raising their voice at the same time, voting with their wallets. Of course, Star Wars Battlefront 2 has been a huge blunder for the company. People are voting with their wallets, and it'll be a deterrent for them in the future. So if they don't want the same thing to happen to their next big franchise, more than likely they're going to come out and do something slightly different. They might take a step or two back, but they're not going to keep going in the same direction unless they want their company to just go under. I think that's a good thing that so many people stood for something and said, no, this is just a bridge too far. You're nickeling and diming us constantly. I feel like I'm not buying a complete product because you're trying to sell me so much of it after I pay for it.
The thing is, EA is still out there, talking to their shareholders saying they're going to keep doing the same thing. Like, yeah, they're going to pull back on it compared to what they did with Battlefront 2. They feel like that was a misstep, but they're not pulling off of that business model. Like, they see it as a hugely lucrative way to do business.
It may be to their peril at some point in the future. We'll see what happens.
I'll tell you one person who's happy about the way EA have been acting. Konami, man. Konami loving it. They're not the bad guys anymore.
You got a good point, Gary.
They've been worse than Konami, so that's something else there. It's positive. I think it's time to. I think we should transition on because BC's got time for one more topic, and I want him in on this one. Briar, do you want to move on to your topic?
Yeah, sure. What was it?
Are games held back by their licenses?
Oh, okay.
Or franchises held back by their licenses? What do we think?
This is topical to what we were playing today, The Division. I always thought The Division could be a cooler game if it didn't have Tom Clancy's name on it. And I've been told that Tom Clancy's name actually helps sell that game, right? It's like, somebody who isn't necessarily into a video game may see the Tom Clancy game and say, you know what? I really like his books, or I really like those movies. I like those franchises. I'll check this out. But to me, it's a detriment in The Division because it limits what that world can be. It limits what can be in that world. It limits the weapons to relatively realistic weapons. It limits the enemies to human enemies, basically. Whereas in The Division, you're set up to have, some kind of mutant or some kind of zombie, based on like the virus that happened there. And how much more interesting would it be if you had, an enemy that had a million health points if it wasn't just a 6 foot tall dude?
Yeah.
It's always been a disconnect. How come if I headshot this dude out on the street once, he goes down, but if I headshot this dude 100 times,
he's still coming.
Like, it never made sense. I don't care. Okay, his raincoat must be really powerful because so like the easiest way to solve that problem in The Division would be just kill the Tom Clancy name off and add, you don't have to go crazy with like make it like a full on like World War Z kind of thing, but maybe like small mutations have, created more powerful dudes. Yeah. Other things kind of in that same vein is the Assassin's Creed Origins game that I've been loving lately is still tied to Assassin's Creed, and it doesn't feel like it needs to be. And in fact, some of the things that tie it to Assassin's Creed kind of pull it down a little bit for me, namely the Animus.
Really?
If the Animus wasn't in that game, I'd like it better. Every time I get pulled out of Egypt, which I'm really enjoying, or into the past Egypt, which I'm really enjoying, into future Egypt in the Animus, just like, how do I get through this as fast as possible so I can just get back to having fun?
That's how I felt in the very original.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same. There's a button on in the UI for Assassin's Creed Origins that you can manually go into the future, so you can switch back. I don't think anyone has ever pressed that button.
I didn't even know it existed.
Ever go?
Yeah, why would
if there was a button that said "Never take me back to the future," I would definitely click on that one. Because it's not that story isn't interesting. It's just that it breaks up. It's not the same game at all. It just pulls me out of the story that I'm really enjoying. And Assassin's Creed Origins it's a wonderful game. Like, it's just absolutely incredible. Exploring ancient Egypt, going and seeing the pyramids, the lighthouse of Alexandria, exploring this world. You'd think it's just a desert map, like an open world desert map, but it's actually a really interesting place to explore. Great quests, great characters. But man, you get into that Animus, it's just like man, it hits the brakes on that game in a hard
Kills
way.
the immersion.
Yeah. So there
for me, though,
games
Briar,
that, like, if they were pulled out of the franchise they were in, could really be improved? That's the question, right?
Okay, now you've clarified, because initially it wasn't really about the franchises; it was the licenses in particular, a la Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, I think it's feasible, it's possible. But if you look at it from the perspective of a developer or someone who's trying to generate income, if they have a franchise or a notable name that they can tether to a product or a property, who wouldn't? You know, it's easy front end money, and a lot of games that go out there only make front end money, and the back end is kind of slow. It's a definite decline, and so
Tom
sometimes
Clancy's name selling that game to you, like, does
I mean,
Tom
look
Clancy's
at
name
all the
be on
time.
that?
I mean, how many Tom Clancy games have there been over the last 3 generations, Briar? They've all been huge successes for the most part.
I think it's two different audiences, though. If you're talking about the video game audience and the book
Versus the
audience,
books.
I can tell you right now, there's probably very few people who have read every Tom Clancy book that's going to go out and buy a game just because it's got Tom Clancy's name on it. There's some people who just want nothing to do with the video game in general. I think, like, to start with a game, it's good to start your franchise to have a premises around something. But I think long term, if you're going to continue to pimp out that title and make more, you do need to change and evolve in some way. Otherwise, it's just the same shit over.
Another aspect of it, though, Wilson, is Tom Clancy, of course, is synonymous with the books and the movies. Hunt for Red October, all this stuff goes together. But the games have kind of created their own mythos. You know, a lot of these games, some of them are made off of books, but just for instance, we got Ghost Recon, The Division, Rainbow Six, Splinter Cell, and of course, Ghost Recon goes all the way back to the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox.
Right.
Hawks. I mean, these games have been very successful with the Tom Clancy name, so it's kind of built its own ecosystem. Now when gamers hear that name, Tom Clancy, yeah, they might not think about the books. They're going to think about an old Ghost Recon game or Splinter Cell game or something like that. It's going to be a completely new environment for them.
Let me ask you this, Beasley. If they were to announce the Division 2, right? If, you know, like, say they came out tomorrow and they had a trailer for the Division 2, would you be more excited or less excited if it had the Tom Clancy name on it?
For me, it would be honestly, I wouldn't care. You know, I mean, as someone who's played the game before, I kind of know what I'm getting into. I think that it's more for people who are coming into a franchise.
No, but I mean, you've played the Division. You played Tom Clancy's The Division. You know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So to see it not there would mean something, right? To you as a gamer. So
I think with it not being there, the game has more flexibility. The game has more flexibility, and if Tom Clancy's name wasn't tethered to it, more than likely it'd probably be a better game at this point. There's more flexibility to the world and to what can happen in the world of Tom. There
was a game that came out. I don't know if it was this week or last week, but it was a side scroller kind of Metroidvania type of game that was tied to the new Tom Cruise The Mummy movie.
Demastered, yeah.
Yeah, The Mummy Demastered. Apparently, the game is pretty good.
The movie sucked, and I would want to play the game.
It's tied to a movie that was absolutely fucking garbage. I don't know. Like, is that game getting helped out because it's tied to that movie?
No, it's definitely not.
I mean, but would we even know about it if it wasn't tied to that movie?
Well, I guess it all depends on the license or you know, the particular franchise. I mean, can you think of a Tom Clancy game besides maybe The Division when it launched that you didn't like? Many of them are.
I mean, there's been a few. What was it? There was like a Vegas one that I wasn't a fan of. But like, back to Briar's question, I would be more excited about just The Division because, like what you're saying, it allows for more possibilities. Maybe what Briar was saying about the virus evolving or something like that.
That's what I kind of thought initially.
New enemy types.
That we would see other things other than human beings.
Something similar to the Flood from Halo. You know what I mean? Just some sort of mutated enemy. You know, like that's running rampant. I would be more excited about it, but then again, like I'm not the type of person that likes. Well, that always wants that realistic combat, you know what I mean? That Call of Duty experience. You know, I know we all like sci-fi experiences, but there's some people that potentially don't. You know what I mean?
But the Division, the funny thing about the Division is that it has like a realistic look to it. But I mean, I haven't played a lot of 1.8, so maybe this is fixed. But when I spend 6 clips shooting the same dude
in the head too, Briar, in the head,
there is a serious fucking disconnect that has always been like kind of a turn off for me about that game.
Mm-hmm. Parking that itself, like the whole thing of how many bullets it takes to hit someone. The Division, like you say, once you cut the veneer of appearance away, it's an RPG, an action RPG functionally at its roots. Like, there's no realism in the sets. There's no realism in what the guns do, the abilities. The fact that you can, like, mass resurrect. The fact that you've got guns that like allow you to start fires with like bullets and that's it's just there's a lot of different things that just aren't realistic in any way. So like you say, I think that they take liberties with the license in some ways and have things that are very much not of this world through the abilities and armor sets, but then the lore and the story and the thing that was, I guess, the set piece that was written by Tom Clancy, the premise that was written by Tom Clancy or approved by him is kind of, that's canon and they can't now deviate away from it. And like you say, I think that's a strong point to say that the established canon holds it back in a long way. And even Destiny, pivoting back that way, I feel like Destiny's held back by its canon to an extent in the fact that we have to get everything lore approved as such. Like, we can't do this because there's a lore reason that it can't happen, and you have to have this happen because this is the lore. And like even Crucible,
that's anything with nerd culture though, man. If you don't get the lore right, you just get ate up, man.
Sometimes it's better to say fuck the lore. They did in the Division and they made it a better game. Like the 4v4 team deathmatch was something they'd adamantly said we can't do because you're agents and rogue agents, and why would you just have a set 4v4 deathmatch? It wouldn't happen. And then this patch they've just said fuck it, this is what people want. And it's
make
been
up
well
your
received,
own premises, you know what I mean? Use your own imagination. Why are you engaging this other group of 4 agents?
Why have been there been 6 Master Chiefs fighting each other for years, like PvP is point. You throw the window
they call that the suspension of disbelief or whatever, like you just kind of make up your own thing, maybe that guy gave you a dirty look when you walked past and you guys decided to fight.
Stepped on your shoe.
Maybe he named his PUBG character after your mom. I don't know. Like,
how you know my mom, bitch? Yeah, it's totally understandable. And before I go, I got 2 minutes left. I'm supposed to be leaving at 7. I want to real quick get into the topic. One of the topics that I added for this week.
Yeah.
Greatest gaming Christmas gifts. Now, this could be something that happened last year or happened when you were 4. But I want to know from you guys, from your childhood till now, name the greatest gaming Christmas gift that you can remember.
You're short on time, Beasley, so you go first.
Okay, well, for me, I told you guys pre-show, it was a shitty thing that my mother did. My mom was always into her relationship more than her children. It's a sad reality that some parents are into, but that's how my mom was. She was constantly chasing behind these guys who were out in the street doing whatever they were doing. And we were kids. And me and my older brother, we loved our Super Nintendo. We had little siblings who would sit around and play with us. And I can't remember the exact year, but this is right when the Super Nintendo Super Scope came out. Sega came out with their own little peripheral gun. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but I can't. And the Super Scope 6 was Super Nintendo scope. And this year in particular, we had mentioned to our mom, who didn't have a lot of money, my mom was very poor, that we really wanted this thing. And we hoped against hope that we would see it. And she bought it for us, I want to say when I was 11, maybe 90 or 91. And she hid it from us until Christmas Day. And I remember opening that up and playing it and putting this little dongle in front of my TV and holding the scope and shooting it, and how special that was for me that my mom actually cared, because she never showed any signs that she gave a goddamn about what we were doing, what we were playing. She was downstairs handling her adult life, and we were upstairs playing our Super Nintendos. And it always stuck with me as a very special time. Since then, I've been able to, work and make my own money and take care of myself. But that was one of the most special Christmas gifts I had got. And I was a young kid. Me and my older brother, we played the shittiest Super Nintendo games you could ever imagine with our Super Scope 6. It came with a cartridge that had about 6 games on it, and each of them were shittier than the next.
But you didn't get Metal Combat, man? That was like the best game ever on Super Scope. That was badass. it was like Gundam anime, like screen scrolling, like all whoa, like flashy Japanese. And
tell me this shit now. I never even heard of the game, man.
You had to Google it when you get a chance, and then you had to like. It was like your mech was traveling, like the background, like they're all like whoosh, dashing around, and you have to like shoot certain parts of their armor and expose their.
We definitely had that. I just
okay.
Didn't remember.
All
okay.
right.
I definitely remember that. Okay.
I'm sorry that you didn't get a Menacer, which was clearly the superior.
The Menacer.
Are you being facetious right now?
It had 2 scopes, 2 of them.
Were the games any good, Briar?
Terminator.
Really, the arcade?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
You do that. Those scopes suck, though. He's just.
I take it back.
It had 2 of them.
It had two scopes.
Well, it had a removable stock. It had removable scopes. You could do lefty or righty. That's why I had 2 of them.
It's like the Queen Breaker bow.
You use them together, Briar. Look, a placeholder though. And this happened when I was an adult. Right when I met you, Briar. When I first started my YouTube channel, one of the greatest Christmas gifts I ever got in my life was when Kate brought me my Final Fantasy sword, and she brought me my first Elgato. And
that's pretty good.
I arrived. She brought me an Elgato. She brought me a 35-pound steel Cloud Buster sword from Final Fantasy VII, so I could fuck somebody up and record it on TV at the same time. And that was a great placeholder. So let me hear you guys. What was one of the greatest Christmas gifts you ever received concerning gaming?
Who wants to go next? Wilson?
Yeah, I'm down. Let's see. Okay, first thing that comes to mind, without a doubt, I think I've mentioned it multiple times on the podcast, but the year was 1992. And all the boy wanted for Christmas was a Super Nintendo and Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. That's all I wanted. I had mentioned before that I had tore out the JCPenney catalog page that had it. Also took out some of the lingerie section as well. But
as one does.
Yeah.
That's just the standards. That was like before the internet. That's all you had.
Yeah.
I know, man. It just
I know.
Whatever you're into, those ladies were
in the old
in the catalog.
the sluggy
swimsuit is she doing these days?
No, I had the underwear catalog, and there was never in good underwear either. It was always like the kind of like the supportive, the shapewear, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, the hold you in, the skin colored underwear as well.
If you got your hands on a Victoria's Secret catalog, you were in good shape.
You know, it's kind of off topic, but we used to steal Playboys from my neighbor's garage back in the day. He had a bunch of Playboys. I used to watch
Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda's workout routine with my Aunt Betty. That was a fine chick back in the fucking 80s. Real talk. Jane Fonda.
In the UK, we're some dirty fuckers. I don't know if you guys had the same, but our newspapers, you know, like the Washington Post and whatever, we had one called The Sun. And The Sun would have the page 3 girl, which was basically just an excuse to have a woman with her tits out on page 3 of the newspaper. So you'd turn the first page, you'd just be like, that's lovely, and then continue with your news.
What a great way to start the morning.
That was it. They had to stop it recently because
innocent fucking story again. A fucking Super Nintendo. We've bastardized it until talking about our first.
I'm okay
porn.
with it. This is actually the greatest part of my life was the JCPenney catalog cutouts. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
To be honest, this is a topic really. What did you do before pornography? This is our next topic.
Yeah.
Right.
What
basically,
would you stoop to?
I had made it very, very clear that I wanted a Super Nintendo with Link to the Past. Got up on Christmas. Of course, my mom made me open all my shitty gifts, you know, as you'd say as a kid, the crappy gifts, even though it was all good stuff, like stuff I needed, clothes, whatever. Got to the Super Nintendo, and that was it. There was no Link to the Past. There was Super Mario World, but fuck Mario. I don't want the red hat. I want the green hat character.
Yeah.
So I kind of sulked for a few minutes, and my dad totally did the whole Christmas story. Oh, what's that over there? Looks like Santa left another one behind the TV, you know? Yeah, and did the whole Christmas story thing. Went over there, got it. No one saw me again for like 3 weeks because that's all I did.
Man, I love that, Wilson. That warms my heart, man. That's awesome.
Did you what was your reaction once you opened the package?
I would say like Nintendo 64 kid levels, like for sure. Like just I don't even know if you can put to words. Like it seemed very unobtainable to me for some reason. I kind of had an idea of the value of money back then.
Yeah.
And it just kind of seemed like it was just something that was going to be so unobtainable. So to see that mom and dad pulled through on that, and I mean, I played that thing for fucking ever, dude. Like, I still have the damn thing. Like,
that's beautiful, man.
I mean, does it say more about me that throughout that story there, I was hoping that when your dad told you there was a present behind there, it was just not linked to the past?
It would have been like,
no, it doesn't say anything that we don't
Killer
already
Instinct
know.
School and all, but if it would have been like anything but linked to the past, like, oh, they'd have fucking heard. I'd have totally been a spoiled little brat. And
Primal Rage.
That's it.
Or I'd have been like, we're going to grandma's later. Maybe grandma got it for me.
It was like a textbook for school or something. It would have been great if you were honey dick there at a young age. Like,
my dad's like, here's a rake. Now go do some shit. Here's a snow shovel for Christmas. Now go fucking snow shovel the driveway.
that's it.
Dick in a box. Inner Black says you should have got a dick in a box. It would have been a good teenage gift. All right, I'm going to stick around for the rest of these answers. Right. Gary and Briar, what you guys got?
Go ahead, Gary.
Well, I have either a very bad memory or a very poor childhood, which I don't know, one of the two. But I can't remember of any. To be honest with you, I actually don't think I got many gifts at Christmas. I tended to get it when the game or the console was released, so it was like interspliced throughout the year as it happened. But if we think about a Christmas gift that I can remember, I bought myself a Christmas gift in 2014.
So wait a minute. You're really that's not a gift. That's the greatest thing you've ever bought.
Ever gotten came from himself.
The greatest gift he ever got was gifted by him.
That's horrible.
What the actual fuck, Gary Diaz?
Oh,
sorry to derail your story, but
It's fine. I can't remember waiting. It was one of them things that is like, I'd say to my mum, the PS2's coming out, and she'd be like, "Oh, when's it coming out?" I'll be like, "I don't know."
5 minutes, guys.
Okay.
Go for it. I'd say like, I don't know, November 10th, whatever, and she'd be like, "Cool. Do you need me to order one?" And just say, "Yeah," and it would happen. Like, I wouldn't generally wait, but moving forward, like I got more what's the word? A little bit more like tight with my own funds. Like, I didn't really spend my own money on stuff. When it was spending other people's money, I'm quite happy to do it, but with my own, I was a bit more
We've noticed.
a bit more withheld. And I'd been a PC gamer for like the longest time. I hadn't owned a console since I moved out from my own house, and I just didn't feel the need for one. Skipped the entire Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 generation, which was like almost 10 years. Only really had a PS2 when I was very young. Anyway, PS4 had come out a year ago, still not really paying it much attention. And then a friend of mine at the time said, "Why don't you get yourself a PS4? You need a Blu-ray player, and this Destiny game looks like a lot of fun." So I picked up the white PS4 in 2014 with the original copy of Destiny. I picked it up as a Christmas present, so I started playing it first week after Christmas, and got to be honest, thought this game is overhyped. The score of 6 was right. It's junk. Put it down. Didn't touch Destiny again until The Taken King, and then obviously it got its teeth in, and we are where we are today. And why I think the PS4 was the greatest gift I ever got for Christmas, which I bought myself, is because through accident and buggery, we are here today,
Right?
all because of that purchase of a PS4 in 2014 and a copy of a god-awful game called Destiny. And through that, it brought me to you guys. It brought me to a lot of the friends that I still play with now. Brought me to communities that I've then taken back to PC, and slowly, I'm almost like a splinter agent working from the inside to bring the guys out of console. But
I knew it.
But yeah, it genuinely has. It's not so much what the console did, but the fact that it changed the habit of my gaming so much from where I was to where I am now, that it has to be the single biggest gift that I can remember opening on Christmas Day, and pretending to look surprising as I wrapped it myself. But there we go.
You really should give yourself a hug and thank yourself for such a thoughtful and kind gift.
I'll give myself a hand job later.
I could totally see Gary like ripping through presents, like, oh, socks, throwing them aside. Oh, and just throwing all this shit aside. And then he gets to the one, who's this from? And, you know, it's his PlayStation. And he's all excited about it.
It was my fiance at the time. And I said to her, well, we were living together. And I sort of said to her, well, what do you want to do for Christmas? And she was like, well, do you want to just buy yourself something and we'll wrap it up and we'll open it on Christmas Day as if we'd bought it for each other? And I was like, yeah, go on then, that'll do. So I just bought myself a PlayStation and result.
It ended with a PlayStation?
Yep.
Best story ever.
PlayStation 4.
Congratulations.
PlayStation 4, because if it wasn't for PlayStation, he'd have never met a lot of his friends and everyone and stuff. So,
to be totally honest, Wilson, I'm not sure Gary has more than 3 friends, real friends anyway. Congratulations.
I mean, 3 is
2 after golf with friends.
Yeah, I was saying, 3 is questionable.
I'm only holding on because he showed me what I need to get for my PC. That's the only reason.
To be fair, I'm also your anime pornography dealer at times.
It's a handy one to keep around.
That is pretty good.
You
don't want to lose that connection.
No. I mean, he's like my little crack dealer. He says, hey, Beastly, I got something to show you. And then everybody else disappears from the chat. Then I know it's time. I'm like, okay, show me what you got, Gary. I apologize for the dismissal of my time, guys. There's family here, and everybody wanted to sing my daughter happy birthday, so I wanted to be a part of it.
No problem.
Yeah, man.
So I'm going to take a technicality on this topic. It doesn't actually say in the topic that you had to have received the gift. So I'm going to go with a gift that I gave, a gaming gift that I gave, and it was when I first met my kids. So I got married. Jesus, how many years ago?
May 16th.
To a woman who already had 2 kids, and they were 9 years old when I met them for the first time. And I remember that when they first came over to my house, you know, I was an adult male with a ton of free time on my hands and like every video game thing you could possibly want hooked up to this giant ass TV. You know, my living room was a big ass TV, 2 couches, and like video games everywhere. Right? I mean, I was a single dude. It was the dream. I was living the dream.
Beautiful.
So they would come over, and it was almost like video game overwhelmed. You know, like they could play PlayStation, they could play Xbox, they could play Nintendo. Like I had DSs hanging around, I had PSPs hanging around, or Vitas. I don't even know which one was.
I love you, Briar. I love you, man.
And they would just be overwhelmed by it. So, we did Christmas together that year after meeting. And I decided that it'd be fun to get them an Xbox 360 because they didn't have one. But being the asshole I am, what I did is I bought the Xbox 360 and I took everything out. And actually, I was kind enough, I hooked it all up to the internet, so it was all updated and ready to play. It was actually all hooked up on Christmas morning.
Damn.
But I then filled the box with underwear and socks, and I wrapped that fucker back up.
Oh my God.
Of course he did. Of course.
So it was so exciting to me to hand over this Xbox 360 box filled with underwear and socks. Like, it really was like, we filmed it. You can actually watch that shit on my YouTube channel.
No shit.
The run comes. Yeah.
We put that shit on YouTube. You gotta look way back to see it. I'm pretty sure we put it up on YouTube. I'm almost positive we did.
You did. I saw it.
It was hilarious. The look in their eyes. Because they knew. Like, I didn't fool anybody. They're just like, really?
Where's the Xbox?
Yeah,
again,
the Xbox?
I feel like I'm a terrible human being because that's not the way I thought the story was going.
What did you think
when you said you took the Xbox home, took it out and emptied it out, I thought you were going to swap it out for yours and give them the pre-owned one. You were going to update your
dark soul.
Update my Xbox.
I thought you were just buying yourself. You're like, this one's close to Red Ring, so this is going to head down the street.
It's so dark.
You know, this one's been making some funny noises. It's had some questionable moments.
I've already bought 4 of them.
I got to watch that video again because, man, that one puts a smile on my face every time I watch it.
Oh, that's funny.
Update, guys. I am able to stay for the rest of the show.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw my daughter open up the gift, the big gift that I wanted her to open, and I'm back. So
nice. Cool.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
You only missed my story, which was almost not worth missing. So,
well, you said PlayStation. That's all I wanted to hear. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which would be greatest.
Why buy new games?
This is a great one.
Why do we buy new games? Why do we buy new games when we know that if we wait a year, it's going to be half the price and twice as good? We're playing, me and Wilson and Gary were playing The Division today. We paid $27 for it. Some of us paid $22 for it. It is by far a superior game than the game that launched 3 years ago. Why buy The Witcher when it comes out, when it'll be all fixed and patched up, and you'll get the DLC for free if you wait a year? Why buy Destiny 2 in the current state when you know that after Comet, it'll be much more like Destiny 1? Why buy Destiny 1 when it was launched, when by the time that thing was end of life, it was a fantastic and huge
I will tell you why.
Okay.
The reason why, this goes for every game you mentioned. For people who are looking forward to games, and you know they're going to come out, you know they're going to be $60, you know they're going to be broken, they're going to need updates and patches, the feeling of knowing that someone else is playing it and you're just sitting and waiting is too much to take.
Yeah, but you could be, instead of struggling with Destiny 2 right now, you could be playing a fully completed game like The Witcher 3 and like exploring a world that is unbelievable. And if you run into any problems or bugs, or even if you don't like the graphics, you can fucking do like a palette swap for the graphics because there's mods out there that'll do it for you.
For me,
you can spend far less money on old games that are far better than current games.
Yep.
I'm actually going through this right now, right? PUBG is out on Xbox 360. I mean, Xbox One and Xbox One X.
You don't want to touch that thing with a 10-foot pole.
I don't. I'm playing Fortnite. I don't want to play it. I don't want to buy it. It's $30. I was like, but it's PUBG, and my son's like, my son said, Dad,
so bad.
You know how much you love that game, Dad. You need to get it. I said, but son, it's so fucked up. He said, but Dad, you know, even they're gonna patch it. They're gonna make it better. I'm looking at my son like, you sack of shit. I didn't buy it.
Yeah, you could have that $30. You could have that $30 in your bank account earning interest for you, or you could give it to them and have it in their bank account earning interest for them.
They got too much money for me already for Christmas. They ain't getting shit out. Shit. You know,
it's in a really poor state right now.
From what I understand, I'm actually going through that, and for me, it's still a decision. You know, I spent probably over the last 2 days, I probably spent $150 on PlayStation. You know, all these sales. I've been buying games, just buying like a fool. My wife looks at me and says, "Why are you buying it? You're not going to play." I'm like, "I will. I never do." But for PUBG, it's one I know I will play. I know it looks like crap. I watched Digital Foundry. I was so excited. I tweeted about it before watching the video. I watched the video. I was like, I just tweeted about this shit. And I know Gary was laughing when he watched that video.
It's not the only mistake you've made on Twitter lately.
A mistake to you. Ain't no mistake to me. But, yeah, I'm actually going through that. That feeling of wanting it because it's new, it's available. My friends are, well, not my friends. I don't have any friends on Xbox. Sorry, but there are people out there playing.
He's got a brand new one.
I know.
I'm not gonna friend his ass. Are you tripping?
No, in his words, he bought a Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
He did not say, I bought at first an Xbox One S. He was like, I
twice
bought
as much use out of it as you are. You use it as a USB charger.
Look, let me tell you, the only reason Xbox is not even look, to be totally honest, and this is not a slight to anybody playing Xbox, because I do think that, you know, multi-plats and some you know, exclusives are great on the Xbox, but I'm more of a PlayStation guy. It's just the truth. My Xbox is not in my office anymore. It's in my bedroom because my PlayStation 3 has started to crap out on me.
So to make sweet, sweet love to it every Thursday night.
Yes. True. It's true. So my Xbox is there, and I'm actually going through that, Briar. You know, the thought of buying a new game, even though I know it's crappy, I just don't feel like PUBG is going to stay crappy on the Xbox. I think they're going to figure it out, and they're going to at least get it to a solid 30 frames per second at some point. And when they do that, I'm going to be able to enjoy what I've always enjoyed about the PC version. I can get 30 frames easily on my PC, higher than that, easy.
But so why would you buy it again? You already own it on the PC.
So it's hard for me to do this. Listen, man. I'm unlike you, Brian. You grew up playing.
You plug a controller in. It's the same fucking thing. They put no aim assist on it. Like, there's no difference. Like, you can just plug a controller in.
It's not made for that. It's not made for that. If you plug it into Steam, this little thing pops up and you got to kind of configure it. It's not made for a controller.
Arguably, the Xbox One isn't either.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Have you seen people trying to aim in that game? It looks like you're trying to use a controller on the PC version. I played
before on PC with the controller, and I was like, this doesn't feel like it's supposed to be on a controller.
That game makes me want to be a Gary Diaz and go get a Zim 4 and just mop the fuck up. Because when I watch footage of that game, man, nobody can fucking aim in that game. But if you had a Zim 4, I'm guessing that you would be able to, and you would be at a significant advantage.
All the PC options on the console version, Briar. If you plug in a mouse and keyboard, you can open up all the options that you can on PC on the Xbox One version.
Oh, you don't even need the Zim?
No, you do. The keyboard works, but the mouse doesn't.
Mouse doesn't.
Oh, okay.
So part of me wants to plug the Zim in, but then I haven't got the Xbox One X. I've only got the One S. So I'll be playing it like with great aim at 15 frames a second.
Yeah, I can't support an unfinished game like that.
Why
There's no reason.
It's only one stage. How is it that hard for them to? It just doesn't make any sense.
I'm not going to support unfinished games like PUBG when there's finished quality games like Destiny 2 out on the market. So
what about Fortnite?
Or like PUBG
I'm not
on
saying,
the fucking PC, which we played this week.
I'm not talking about a game that's not finished in early access. I'm talking about a game that was supposed to be fully released on Xbox One, and it's a pile of shit.
Game preview.
Bad.
Game preview.
That I won't support, but I see what you're getting at. Yeah, it is kind of hypocritical to say I enjoy the game on PC and it's in early access, but when a game's supposed to be fully released on a console in disc form, there's no reason why when you drop down that you should get to a solid 15 Mississippi count before everything.
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think it's Bluehole's fault. It's not Bluehole's fault. You've got a machine which is 1.1 teraflops of power, and you're trying to put 100 people's actions in it simultaneously on a world with immense draw distances that you're dropping out of in a plane. It's just not feasible. Like, Fortnite works because the graphics on it are not going for, but they're not going for realistic military sim looking game. Like, I don't think it's Bluehole's fault. I think there was a commitment made to put it out on the Xbox. The One X apparently is near 30 frames most of the time. So it's doing the job on the One X. I think the One S is a legacy issue. I don't know. We can say it's an unfinished product, or we can say it's a product that never should have been out on that platform, which I think is more the case.
Not yet. I think if given more time to develop, it'll be fine, especially on the on the X, on the more powerful Xbox. I think with given time and more time for them to optimize the code and whatnot, sure, it could run on there fine. But right now, I feel like it needed more time for development.
10 months after release, it's really starting to play well on the PC.
Yeah.
If they facelifted it and made it look like Team Fortress 2, if they took it out and made it that kind of polygon art, Team Fortress 2 looking shit, it would probably run well. But
yeah,
I don't think they're ever going to get PUBG running well on the One S, my view.
Really?
But why buy new games?
I don't even have the S. The S is faster than the One.
Yeah, I got the One too, Briar.
And I should
I got
clarify
the VCR too.
My controller says Day 1 edition on it.
One.
That's awesome, bro.
That shit came with a Kinect.
I should clarify that the footage that I'm referring to and stuff not rendering in is PUBG running on the original Xbox One, not the S or the X. But I hear runs from what I've seen, it runs much worse on the originals, and I don't feel like that should have been an option for release, man. That's like it's breaking. Like, you try to go into a house that hasn't rendered and your character starts like free falling when he's on the ground and stuff, and you can't shoot people, and it's really unfortunate, man. I had high hopes for it because I wanted it to succeed, and I hope that they can fix it and make it better.
Yeah, it will. I think they'll get it running. I know Gary's pessimistic about it, but I think there's going to be a lot of money thrown at that thing to make it run well on the Xbox, because the Xbox One X doesn't have a lot going for it as far as software goes, and that is a huge, big title. So to get that thing running and playing well, I think is pretty important to Microsoft.
I mean, if anyone can do it, it's Phil and his golden swinging dick. So he needs to sprinkle some of his love seed that way and just make it happen. So I believe in Phil. I don't believe
if his love seed is money, then I think it'll get sprinkled pretty heavily.
He needs to show us the way it's meant to be played.
On the topic of money and new games, I never weighed in on whether I buy new games or not. I buy a lot of games. You guys know I tend to buy a hell of a lot of games.
Yeah, you put together like collections.
I do. There's two reasons I buy games, and none of them are because they're new. I have almost no interest in owning a game because it's new. Yeah, if a game's out there and they see the new release for the games, it's not enticing to me. I buy it for two reasons. One, because I support the developer or the hardware. So the Switch on the Vita, I love the Vita, I love the Switch. I've got 34 Switch games and a lot more Vita games. And the Switch games, I've probably only played 10, 15 of them at any length. But I really like what Nintendo have done with the Switch. And if there's a version of a game on the Switch that I think I may play in the future, I'll just buy it now to support more developers bringing more games out. I mean, my money doesn't count for much, but if everyone has the same mentality as me, then we'll see a snowball effect there. So that's one thing. And the second reason is I buy games because they're cheap. So I will consistently, this is more of a PC thing than a console thing. And basically, you mentioned that there's PlayStation flash sales, but not to the extent of what you can get on the PC. So if you look at, again, I'm a man with no morals and will pretty much
You say it so proud. It's crazy.
I
so
am.
casual.
I'm a man with very little or no morals, and I'll happily look at grey market resellers and key sort of websites. So for me, if I've got my daily sort of flash alerts from all the different key resellers, you know, the dodgy websites that are stealing people's credit cards, and if I see a game that I've always wanted and it's sub $5, I will pick it up and put it in the Steam library. Why not? You know, and that's how I've built my library. They're the two reasons that I buy games.
I do the same thing, Gary. If I see something on sale for a couple bucks, I'm like, fuck it. You know what I mean?
Especially like if I think I might want to play it later. Like I might not play it now, but that's how I bought Skyrim, and then didn't play it for 2 years because it was $5 when I bought it, and then bought Skyrim Special Edition the last Steam sale, so I haven't played that.
You'd be dumb to not to, you know what I mean? When it's on sale like that, you'd be dumb to not pick it up.
Think so I would have learned. I never played Skyrim. Why am I buying the Special Edition?
Because it's special. It's different.
It's all
from
in the title,
rest.
right? It's in the title.
Yeah. Special edition, boom, the one you don't own.
I don't know. It's a funny thing, you know, that we keep buying into this hype, but we keep getting disappointed by it too.
When I buy a new game, like if my friends are playing it and they're having a good time, I want to have a good time. So that has a lot to do with it. Like if I see my friends having just a fucking blast, I'm like, I could be having a blast. We could be having more of a blast. So
I could be having a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that's part of it. Like your friends are playing it. Everybody, there's like a community kind of around that game for a very short period of time, and it might be on YouTube. It might be, you know, your friends. If Wilson, Gary, and Beasley are all playing Fortnite, well, I want to be playing Fortnite because that's where my friends are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if they're all playing The Division, well, fuck Fortnite. I want to be playing The Division.
And if we're all playing The Last of Us, Briar's going to find new
golf with friends. If we're all playing golf with friends, then I want to be playing The Division.
Oh my god, I was gonna say it. If we're playing golf with friends, well, apparently I'm the only fucking one.
Nah, not anymore, Wilson. Not anymore, man.
And if we're all playing Destiny 2, I'm still not playing it. So anyway, our last topic is your Christmas games video game wish list. So this is my topic. I'd like to start it off with a freestyle reinterpretation of a rap song. It's time to go back to how we played as kids, but times have changed, and that's the way it is. So what I'm going to do is give you $60 to spend on a year's worth of gaming. So this harkens back to Wilson's story. He is a kid. It's Christmas. You've got one game. Your mums and pups, you know, they're not well off, but they care. They love you. And they say, Jimmy, you've got $60 to pick video game or video games to play for this whole year. You happen, well, you know, mum and pop have only got $60 to buy a game, but apparently they've purchased you every console for some reason. I don't know. They're the crazy consumers. They've bought no games, but all the consoles. You have the $60 budget, You are not allowed to purchase latter DLCs or season passes with it. So if you're going to get the season pass or DLC, this has to come in the $60 initial budget. I'm just letting you know, that's all you're getting. $60 is all you're worth this year, Jimmy. What do you do? How do you spend it? What would be the best use of this $60 for you right now in 2017 to spend your year of gaming? What do you want for Christmas, Jimmy?
I tell my mom and dad I want to snap pictures of panties like Gary Diaz and Gun Gal.
Your parents are gonna fucking love that.
My parents are gonna be like, "You're not allowed to fucking hang out with Gary Diaz again." I always knew that.
You got that right.
Gary, is there multiplayer in that game? Is there any way we could make that a Revolver place?
There is not multiplayer, but there is a VR version. The one cautionary tale that I'll tell you, Wilson, is that whilst the game is very, very cheap, the DLC to get the see-through clothing, as we have found out, is much more than your budget for the year. So
you already told me I couldn't get DLC, Dad. So fuck you.
No, you can if it's in the budget. If it's in budget. So if you're able to get The Witcher, let's say, the one that you've just said, the gold edition is what, like $25?
Okay.
That's, you can have that and something else with it. So how are we spending our money to get a year's worth? Do we want something super hard? Do we want something that's open-ended like Stardew Valley? How do you guys go about this? How did you do it as a kid?
Much easier than it was when I was a kid. I remember one year I got my Christmas present for that year was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES. That's a fucking game, man. Look, it lasted a while because it was hard as balls.
So
it was also
hard.
a bad fucking game. It was just bad. It was a poorly designed game.
It's just hard. Like, okay, hear me out. Hit rate's a little funny on some of the enemies, unless you're Donatello, because he's the alpha. He's the best. He has the best weapon. But the swimming stages to progress, and the fact that back then, that when you lost all your lives, your game, when it said game over, it meant game fucking over.
Yeah.
Reset
from the beginning.
If you put that stuff aside, I think relatively it's a good game. But
it was extremely frustrating, even for fast reflex little Briar that we barely remember anymore.
Barely remember.
So anyway, like, you compare a $60 game back then to what is coming out now, that is constantly getting updated. It's getting free map packs. It's getting DLC. Like, if you got a Call of Duty game, like in the modern era, that's a game that you can play all year easily. Your friends will probably be playing it all year. It's going to get supported all year. If you got like Rainbow Six Siege, it might last you 2-3 years. If you got Destiny, it might last you 2-3 years. Yeah, you're going to need DLC eventually to stay up to date. But that's a much smaller ask. I can tell you from, paying for these things for my kids, it's a much smaller ask than for a $60 game.
Well, that's the thing. So you look DLC. At the game, the thing that jumped to me, if I was going to say one of them, it can't be something like World of Warcraft because that's out of budget. I can only play that for 3 months and then I'm done.
Yeah.
Overwatch.
That's my game.
Overwatch is a game.
That's a good one. Right now. That's a great one. My kids play a ton of Overwatch right now, and I think part of it is for that reason. They don't have to keep throwing money at it. The loot boxes give them a sense of achievement over time, but since it's not at all connected with actual money for them, it's only a reward that's earned through in-game. It doesn't have that seediness that I might associate with it because it's constantly calling me for my wallet, but since the kids don't have access to my wallet, that call isn't there, or it's not going to be answered anyway.
It's like $30 at the moment for the edition. So
$30.
Destiny,
yeah.
Weren't you telling us, Gary? Destiny 2 right now is like $18 at GameStop.
Equivalent, yeah, $18, brand new at the UK.
That fits in budget with both DLCs.
You could get the season pass in it as well. If you wanted Destiny 2.
Anytime.
I don't know if that'd be a good buy though. I mean,
Destiny.
How much can you play it? Could you play it every day for a year?
Yeah, I'm saying that's the only game. I mean, if you buy all the DLC, what do you got
every
left?
day for 3 years?
It's true.
But the last one was a little bit different than Destiny 2, though.
For sure.
I mean, the last one, I believe that, as time went on, they added to the game in such meaningful ways it kind of changed the dynamic of play. Yeah. Destiny 2 is still kind of in its infancy, I feel. I think that over time, it'll definitely
the Division on sale today and Overwatch.
That's what I mean. So do you go for a brand new game or do you go for two?
Was Division and Overwatch, because anytime especially Overwatch, because anytime you could potentially expose your children to the wonders of Hanzo.
I'm hanging up on him now. Don't worry, guys. It's happening.
You see, now, my pay answer, to elaborate there, I did say Overwatch should be one of them. See, I'm pretty much a Blizzard fanboy here. I'm as deep throat as Briar was with Bungie. I'm right there with Blizzard right now. Would be the one hand you've got Overwatch for your competitive PvP needs, and then for your endless grind, Diablo 3.
Oh, okay. I was expecting World of Warcraft this entire
time. Can't do it. Can't afford it.
Can't afford it. But Diablo 3 you could definitely afford. You could probably get the Ultimate Edition, right? And that comes with like everything.
You only get the Reaper of Souls in the console edition, or you can get the PC one plus the new Necromancer. The Necromancer is like a $10 DLC. Oh, okay. So in budget for $60, I could probably get Diablo 3, the Necromancer DLC, and Overwatch, and then play those three. BC, sorry, you were going to jump in, and I.
Yeah, I just wanted to go real quick. My $60, I've already mapped it out. It doesn't matter what console or what generation, correct?
No, you've got them all. You've got every single console that's ever.
I do in real life, so we're really going to do this.
And,
okay,
all
$60
and a PC. Go for it.
The first game I'm going to buy is Street Fighter V. It's $15 right now on sale on PSN. That's $15 down. Then I'm going to buy Castlevania Symphony of the Night for PS Vita, PSP, and PS3. It's cross-buy. It's $5 right now, so that's $20 I've spent.
Overwatch game. 3 versions of it.
Yes. Overwatch Game of the Year Edition is $30 right now on PSN. That brings me up to $50. Borderlands Ultimate Edition on PS3 is $5. And I'm sorry, it's $5.99. So that's $56 I spent. And Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater for PS Vita is $4. $3.74. So yeah, I'm not fucking around.
For $60.
$60, man. Come on, come with it.
You got Overwatch in there, so you get your multiplayer gaming.
Got Overwatch, yeah. I got Castlevania. That's a game. Man. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Borderlands.
You're good on the go. You're good at home for single player.
I got Metal Gear. I got Castlevania on the go at home. I got Borderlands, which I can play with my friends on PS3 if I need to. And of course, Overwatch on PS4. Your
friends are gonna play with you on PS3.
Where's they've all graduated. And Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V, man. That's all I need. It fills every niche for me. I got fighting game. I got first-person shooters.
Except the fucking. There's no fucking in any of those games.
Are you sure? It never really
factor?
shows what Alucard does in Castlevania Symphony.
It's not far away from Overwatch. Let's be clear.
Yeah, they're fucking in Overwatch.
My man.
Just go to Pornhub. You'll see some shit that'll blow your mind. Yeah,
my man. Saving the
Overwatch is definitely there.
Mouse,
not a
man.
sponsor.
I think chat have sadly not a sponsor. Chat's come up with some great ideas, and this was actually something that I was going to allude to. And Inner Black Ninja there, Justin, has brought out a point that I was going to make here, and this was going to be my curveball once we'd all gone through it. You could put that $60 in your pocket and have an amazing time all year on games anyway. So you've got Warframe, you've got League of Legends, you've got Dota, you've got Fortnite. Paladins, you've got Fortnite, you've got what's that MOBA, Paragon. Yeah, it's a time in gaming when realistically, if you had no money to spend, but you've got the platforms to play it on,
right? If you got a computer and an electricity, you could probably.
Yeah, or even a PS4. Most of those games are an Xbox.
That's
Most
true.
of those games you can play there, with the exception of League. And
let me just say this real quick, Gary, to accent your comment. Nova and Nina got a PS4 for Christmas this year. And I got them a special edition, has a red side, so I wanted it to be unique. I bought them 6 games. They have 36 games on their console.
Free to play, is that?
30 free-to-play games on there. You know, I mean, it's kind of crazy. It was never like this for us growing up. If we had this kind of reality back when we were kids, it would have been a wrap. Free to play would have been the biggest thing
I remember
in the
bringing
world.
home. Well, that might have been you. I remember getting the Xbox 360 on launch, and I don't know if it was available at launch or like in the weeks after. But what was that Capcom game where it was a third-person shooter on that snowy world?
Lost Planet.
Yep.
I remember playing that and being blown away. Like, oh my god, this is like an hour demo and it's free, and it really showed off the Xbox 360 at the time. Like, the Xbox 360 had a rough launch. It was like came with a bunch of PS2 and Xbox kind of up-res ports, like Gun and stuff like that. Perfect Dark was there, but it wasn't a great game. Lost Planet was actually one of the best looking things on that console, and it was a demo right at the beginning. Now you got games like Fortnite, like the list that Gary just had, that are free to play. Warframe,
it's free.
It could be your main game for years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Especially now. I mean, it's so different now compared to how it was when it came out. It's ridiculous.
I remember back in the day, the closest thing that we got to like a free-to-play game was those demo discs out of magazines. I remember I got a Twisted Metal demo back in the day, and it was one character, maybe two characters on one course, and dude, I played that fucking disc until it didn't work anymore. And
I think I had that same disc because
game.
I remember playing that same thing, and it was amazing.
I think you could even have a friend plug a controller in on that one too, and you guys could do multiplayer, and you could just play the shit out of it until the game came out. So that was really cool.
Multiplayer.
Oh man, that's
don't you look at my side, Briar.
True story on this question. When I was seeding this as a thing for the show, I was talking to the fiance and I said to her, I'm thinking of this as a topic for the show. What do you think? And she was like, I don't really give a shit what you do. Stop talking to me. Which is, as she kind of does every day. And then she said, look, honestly, I care. Tell me, what would you do then if I give you $60? What would you get? And her answer was, and again, I'm gonna tell you her answer, then I'm gonna go back to the question that I had afterwards. Xenoblade Chronicles on the 3DS was her answer, and a year's subscription to Pornhub Premium. Now, that was her genuine answer that she gave me.
No wonder you married her.
Yeah.
Good
pickup, man. Good pickup. Yeah. Right? You put a ring on that.
You could share that subscription.
Again, without missing a beat. I didn't question it at all. I just said, why the fuck did you buy Xenoblade? That was the answer. It's like, that was it. Xenoblade Chronicles on the 3DS.
Love, man. Whitney Houston song, for real.
Isn't there a new Xenoblade for the Switch right now?
I've got it, yeah. It's
good?
They're both good. Yeah, jokes aside, Xenoblade Chronicles X and 2 are all fucking great games, but it's just like, that was what came to her mind. Xenoblade Chronicles 3DS and porn.
Why the 3DS version?
I don't know. Why?
There's a new one for Switch right now.
I honestly think she was just fed up with me talking to her and wanted me to go away.
Did it work? I don't think it worked. Her answer was too interesting. If she wanted you to go away, she should have just said Mario.
Possibly.
True. It's funny. My mom called me the other day. She was getting me and Sam's Christmas gift, and she's like, "You guys said you wanted." What did you want? One of those Nintendos is what she got. And then when I told her, I was like, Nintendo Switch. And she's like, well, hold on. I'm at the store right now. And she flags someone down when she's on the phone. She's like, I'm looking for the Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm like, Mom, will you just hand the phone over to the dude? So my mom's getting me and Sam a Switch for Christmas. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's awesome.
Again, not the way I thought that transition was going to go after the Pornhub Premium membership.
Get it. Get that shit off of Amazon.
Genuinely thought Mum had come through with the membership code, the CD key.
What do you want? Just get me a gift to Pornhub. What's that? Don't ask.
I got you and your mum just comes in like I got you and Sam 12 months premium. Enjoy.
I use the same. My mother shares her HBO, her Showtime, and her Pornhub with me, so I get them all for free.
The other thing accounts now create profiles, so you can just log into that profile.
The other thing that's really fucked is the
Lord knows I don't want to see what my mother's been looking at.
Don't really care what she's into. More worried about what I'm into.
That's a fucking thing. Your mum's because you watched section. Because you watched.
Because your mom watched. Other members of your family liked this, suggested by Pornhub.
I'd be more concerned to see, more power to my mom, whatever she wants to see. I'd be more concerned to see my wife's. What if she's looking for something that old Briar ain't providing anymore?
Well, shit.
You can't hide it. You gotta.
I came back just in time.
I've got to be honest, whatever my other half's looking at on there, I am pretty sure I can't provide. So, no matter which way.
Now, let me ask you a question. This might be off the subject.
They're obscene people on there, man. Like beer cans. Ridiculous.
Why is there so much spitting?
What are you watching?
It's very angry. A lot of choking, spitting, kicking. It's just, No one's having a good time there.
Bro, Gary, you have to search for that shit. You know, you can't just go to Pornhub and see somebody getting choked. You gotta actually look for that shit.
I find most of the time it's what pops up on my screen. That's why I have to reinstall my computer so frequently. Ridiculous.
Every day, Gary Diaz has something wrong with this computer.
Yeah. My mouse and keyboard stopped working. I don't know what's happening. Must be the sites I'm going to.
The keys are very sticky at the moment. I don't know why. Anyway.
Prime example of why you stream porn. You don't download it.
Stream? Wow.
Yeah. You just view it. There's no need to click that download button, Gary Diaz.
Yeah.
I know, but the quality's not there, is it? You lose stuff in the pixelation, the upload there. I want the raw
stuff I don't need to see, I think.
It's tired of that video buffering on him at the crucial moment.
I need the director's commentary.
No!
I want director's commentary.
No!
I want subtitles. Sometimes, I just want other languages. Same way the Division works better in Japanese dub. I think we could just put that on.
Gary likes the outtake.
This is why you changed Division sound. It reminds me of your porn.
I like him.
Better.
Shoot me now. Shoot me now.
Christmas video game wish to Pornhub, sharing Pornhub memberships with family.
I wonder how that works, because Netflix goes like 6 ways. Do you think that works on a Pornhub Premium?
Well, I think so.
Does anybody actually sign into that shit?
Well, no, check it out. Like how Netflix works. You sign in and it asks, who is this? And then you'd click your name, and then it would be like, okay, we remember all the things you're into, all the weird shit. So here's all your weird shit.
That's another sponsorship opportunity here, guys.
It'd have to work just like
yeah, definitely.
We may have just sold them like $1 billion idea.
Right?
Possibly.
Family and friends sharing plan, Pornhub.
Yeah.
And they won't say shit about Revolver Live when they implement it. That is some bullshit.
Apparently it's not, but there is a subreddit called /r share a fap, where there's a lot of account sharing that happens. That I've just discovered.
Share a fap.
Thank
Christmas
God for Gary Diaz.
Merry Christmas. Bagadix.com, code Revolver Live.
Code Revolver Live. We got one last topic for episode 21. Who wants to get into it? I really don't know whose topic this is. I think it's Wilson's. Revolver Survival. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It's a good one, man. So, I played a lot of survival games in my day, and it kind of got me thinking, hypothetical situation here. My bus is broke down on tour, leaving the crew stranded in the wild. What role would each cast member play in helping the crew survive until help arrives? So we have to look at our group here. It doesn't matter where we're stranded. Let's just say it's not somewhere fucking cold. All right, let's just say that.
Good.
All right. So we're stranded in
pain in the ass of Division survival mode.
I'm saying, man, it's really bad. So let's look at our group here and see what our strengths and weaknesses are, and let's see if we can get the fuck out of this mess. So, right off the bat, Beastly has been killing a lot of squirrels lately.
Right? He's gonna feed us.
Killed one today.
He's gonna provide it, not hide it. You know what I mean? He's gonna go out there. He's gonna get that squirrel, maybe 2 or 3, and he's gonna bring them back. Briar, and you've mentioned this before.
Wait. Before we move on to Briar. Is squirrel the extent of his hunting? Because what happens if there's no squirrels native to the habitat?
I feel like if you can hunt
I'll kill whatever's out there, Gary.
Exactly. I feel like if you could get a squirrel, you could get a fish.
We're going to get him a higher caliber rifle than the BB gun he's been using to kill the squirrels, but I think once we do, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Granted, God forbid, if he has to catch a rabbit, Briar, I'm sorry, but
you're going to be cannibalizing a rabbit because my gun will blow a fucking rabbit's head off, and I want you to be
sitting there.
And
a rabbit leg. Don't make me do this. Don't make me do this.
And the good thing about Beastie, if he doesn't have a gun, he can just club him to death with his dick, so we can move on from this.
Dude, the meat hammer is an effective hunting weapon.
It works as like a stealth weapon as well because it might be 100 yards out. I'll just lift it to the sky.
It's like a frog's tongue. It just shoots out. Wapata!
Chameleon just grabs it. Doesn't even knock it out. It just grabs it and subdues it.
Wraps around its neck like a fucking anaconda.
He's got elephant nose style control of his member.
As one would.
It's true.
So we've established Beastly strengths, hunting, weakness, pull out. Brian, you were going to talk about him.
Well, he's also going to be great for for repopulating the Earth. It's gonna be. We're gonna have thousands of fucking children within years.
And every woman who gets pregnant by me immediately learns a cooking skill. So if I got 3, we got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah, with us all the time.
Is that like the world's best STD that you offer?
Yo, when I get done with you, girl, you're about to learn how to cook something real good.
Up until Kate had the 3rd child, her breakfast cooking was okay. As soon as Ellie popped out, she pulled out omelets and salsa and everything. I was like, wow, I finally completed the Trinity. So
you in her defense, you have to get pretty damn good at cooking when the meat that is being provided to you is fucking squirrel. Like you have to be, you got to get inventive real fucking fast.
You know, he could also have a side of toast with the yobo, the toaster. You know what I mean? So there's
that's true. He brings a toaster everywhere he goes.
He never leaves home without it. Look at that thing. Look at all that toast you could fit in there.
Toast.
Look at that. Briar, you had mentioned before in the past that you wanted to be a park ranger.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right. I went
at
to
one
school
point in time. So I feel like your navigational skills, like the fact that you wanted to go into it, already tells me that you're comfortable with getting around in nature.
I am not the kind of guy who gets lost. I get lost more now that I use a GPS than when I use a map. Because I'm not fucking paying attention to where I'm going anymore.
He's our navigator. You know what I mean? He's
gonna. Thank God I have a use.
And Briar also used to play a hell of a lot of golf. So if my pellet gun ever gets jammed, he can take out a squirrel from a distance.
Yep, it's true.
I'm not good at golf.
It's anything like golf with friends. You might want to let me take the
tree
shot.
branches around the squirrel are fucked.
So, I'm thinking, like the strengths that I could bring, are more like spiritual hippy dippy side of being out there. You know what I mean? We might get naked. It might get a little psychedelic, but it's all in good fun. I promise.
You gotta have fun in the apocalypse too, man.
Wilson, we need somebody.
Wilson is the glue that binds.
If we go fishing, we need somebody to be able to smoke the salmon, someone to smoke our meat so it lasts for a long time. I can see you in there. All the meat smoke lasts for a year. I mean,
hang on. I'm going to raise my hand once more on this story.
Oh boy. Go.
We weren't in the apocalypse, right? As far as I'm aware, the bus has broken down in the wild. Why am I naked smoking fish? Like, where did this go wrong? We've burst a tire.
Harry. Wilson is the glue that binds. That's all you need to know. You listen to fucking
advisor.
Wilson.
So we were waiting for AAA, and we're now killing squirrels and naked smoking fish.
Are you going to complain for this whole trip, Gary? I mean, we broke down. The bus broke down. Okay, we hit a roadblock, but now we got food. We got smoke.
Yeah.
We're naked. Everything's going okay, Gary. Why you gotta be bitching?
I'm pretty sure you can't sit in the guy's pickup who comes to pick you up naked. I think there's like no shirts, no shoes, no service in those things.
We'll get dressed for that. But
Man, could you imagine if they've got a 45-minute call-out time on them? In the time it takes from you to make the emergency call to them arrive, you're naked smoking fish in a campfire, like.
Which leads me to your role, Gary Diaz. I feel like you would have just called an Uber and said "fuck this" and got out.
To be honest, I'd have offered a carpool, but if no one's putting in on it, then
no, you wouldn't have told us anything. By the time we were naked and getting
where did Gary go?
Yeah.
Well, Gary, this fish is going to be good. Keep smoking, Willie.
It's yeah. I feel like it escalated quickly from like a broken battery or whatever.
This is Revolver survival, not Revolver stranded. There's a difference.
Survival is needed on a car breaking down.
Have you drove through like Roswell, New Mexico? Like if we broke down in the middle of like New Mexico, you'd be
no,
fucked.
but I've flown through.
Yeah, he's flown through. In 1947, he flew through.
Oh, heard it was just a weather balloon.
I mean, I think I was probed near New Mexico once. At least that's what Alejandro told me.
Were you 21? Oh, I don't think you had to be 21 to be probed in Mexico. You only had to be 12? Is that what you're telling us?
Mexico, not New Mexico. New Mexico's got far more legality than that.
So I feel like we'd be doing pretty good if
Yeah.
Beasley was hunting and gathering.
I literally killed a squirrel today. I swear to God, I did. No
and
joke.
Briar was telling us where to go.
Yep.
And I guess if Gary just wasn't in the picture, I'm just kidding.
Have you ever seen the film Alive where that plane landed? It crashed like over the North Pole, and they survived for like 3 months, and they had to eat the dead.
Yeah,
Gary, he could become useful if shit goes really bad.
So I did like for some reason I read apocalypse into here, so I'm gonna go with an answer here that's kind of geared toward the apocalypse, and
that's fine.
I mean, Beasley, you're clearly the hunter and gatherer. You are the provider, Beasley.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna have to give you in return for that food, but I know it ain't gonna feel good.
Well,
that's not, you know.
I mean, that's what I was going to offer myself in. I'm not much of a hunter or a provider, but I feel like I could be the chieftain's concubine.
Gary, and just I already got a plan for you, and it's an important one. In the apocalypse, you know there's going to be bad men roaming around. Like,
oh, for sure.
Have you ever seen the road? Like, it is a dangerous thing, the apocalypse.
I have.
But I
know
all
the Mad Max movies.
If I got Gary Diaz in my group, we're going to get into some kind of trouble with some very bad people.
Talk it out.
We're going to send Gary out there, and he's going to come back laughing, giggling. They're all his best friends, and he's got their shoes. He not only won them all over, but he got them to give us their shit when they came to take our shit.
and their money,
right?
That's
a way better solution than what I was going to come up with.
I like that story as well because I either have that resolution and that happens, or they kill and eat me. So either way, you guys win. You know,
and we have enough space to escape. Thanks, Gary.
They take care of a problem for you, or you get their shoes. So
they're walking around with sore feet, but they got this brand new Vita that they're pretty happy with.
Gave up all their supplies for it, but you know, at least they can play the best of 2012. So.
In the apocalypse, future currency is Vitas. So Gary's just rich. He's rich in Vita.
Like doormen in front of his house. Each one's holding like a Vita cartridge in their hand.
I think we'd do all right. I think with those set of skills. When you said you were going to send Gary out to the group of bad people for a second, I thought you were taking a wild turn, like we were going to put a dress on him and send him out to the.
No, I have 100% trust in Gary's ability here.
It wouldn't be a wild turn. Have you heard Gary's stories?
That's what I'm saying.
Gary is going to return to us a victor of a negotiation that all parties are happy with for a little while.
For a little while.
Until they figured out the shenanigans that Gary just pulled on them, they're going to be happy too. They might be back in a day or two once they figured out that these Vitas, they can't charge them because there's no fucking electricity in the apocalypse. But by then we'll be fucking gone because we're smart. We're getting the fuck out.
I'll take all of their squirrels on the way out too, so we'll be good to go.
I feel like the entire premise of Revolver is almost like a Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Like we've been building towards this apocalypse because the more I look at the overlay that we have, it kind of looks apocalyptic now.
It does.
You know, we've kind of got the twin pistols on the ravaged Mad Max looking Fallout landscape there in the background, and our heads on there. I mean, if it wasn't for the background shattered or the illusion shattered by the stilettos on a Christmas tree, I think we'd be all right. You know, it's the only thing that's letting the guys down. No, in all honesty, I don't know what I'd do. Like I said, I think I'd offer myself out as a rent boy to the largest clan that were there, and try to align myself to the power bottom, as a power bottom to the chieftain, and then work my way.
Power bottom.
That's how I'd move up in society.
Chieftain's power bottom.
It is. I could see myself, you know, like Jeff Goldblum in Thor Ragnarok, where I'm in like finest robes and like blue makeup, lots of nice rings.
That's a beautiful visual.
That's it.
That's good.
That's where I see my life. That's it. Where the bus broken down has now led me into this.
Well, I feel a little more comfortable for the Revolver World Tour. Like, you know, as the date approaches for the kickoff, for the send off of the Revolver World Tour. As we fuel the bus and kick the tires, I do feel a little more comfortable. And if anything were to happen, we'd be okay.
Let me just say, you know, I do have some baggage, 5 kids, you know. We can throw a couple of them out if we need to, but Kate also has a pellet gun, and she shot 2 squirrels herself. So we'll at least every other day be eating really good. I make my own buffalo sauce, buffalo squirrel. Anybody?
Gary, I love buffalo squirrel. Oh, wait.
Me too.
Gary's look of the combination of the words buffalo squirrel after you said that, the look on Gary's face. It's an American thing, Gary.
No, it's not. Nobody eats squirrel. It's not a thing that happens.
I'm kind of uncomfortable with the fact it's moved from a Thanksgiving tradition now to the primary meat source in your household.
Yeah.
There's been a slippery slope here that's happened.
I do appreciate the savings, though.
It's like a drug. I got home from work and I looked outside and I was like, this motherfucker's just looking at me.
Should we do Chinese tonight? Nah, that'd be too expensive. We're trying to save money for Christmas. How about we just go fucking shoot a squirrel?
At what point do we have to send a PSA out to the residents of Atlanta to say to them, right, hide your cats, hide your small rodents, anything that he could potentially get near? He's moving up the food chain.
Listen, I'm a black guy living in America in the South. Uh-huh. Before I even pulled my pellet gun out, it's a 1.77 pellet rifle that's shaped like little arrow tips. I called the police. I live literally like 2 blocks from the police station. That's an easy death for a black man. So I called him. I said, listen, I live right here on this street. I'm going to be shooting some pellets. I want to make sure everything's okay in the county for me to kill these fucking squirrels. And he said, thank you for letting us know, sir. It's no problem at all. Are you guys eating them?
I believe that phone call.
Wait, he asked if you were eating them?
Yeah, my neighbor eats them. This guy next door came to me and said, hey, man, I saw you got 2 of them. Can I get one? I said, sure. I'm becoming powerful in my hood, man.
Apparently the film Deliverance was based on Beasley's Neighborhood, you know. It's strange to think.
My neighbor, my neighbor on the next on the other side, she told me in Louisiana, however she says it, she said in Louisiana that they eat the squirrel brain. She asked me to. I said I'm not going to do that. She said,
"Oh, that's your line. That's your line."
It's like Temple of Doom.
Sorry, I'm not going to do it. I wouldn't. I'm sorry. Okay, I've eaten 2 squirrels in my life.
I mean, the phone call that you made to the police, I believe that the term for it is suicide by police. You see, if I was in the control room there and the call started off with, good evening, officers, I'm a black man with a weapon. I'm going to shoot some... that's all I need to hear. Officers, sirens, everything. Jesus Christ.
I think they must have assumed it was a joke. Wait, are you telling me this guy called, he pretended to be black and he was going to hunt some squirrels and eat them? No, wait. He said he was going to hunt the squirrels, and I said, are you going to eat them? Oh, no. Oh, no. We've lost Skype. Skype stopped working. No. No. Skype. Come back, Skype.
On. But at any rate, I shot a squirrel. It climbed through the tree into my neighbor's yard and fell in his yard. I was like, oh, this, I can't believe.
Oh, that's his squirrel now, right?
I'm like, I got to fucking knock on this guy's door. So I went and knocked on his door. He came to the door. I said, hey, how you doing there, man? He said, pretty good. I said, I hate to bother you. This is a really strange request.
Can I have my squirrel back?
Yeah, can I have my squirrel? I shot it fair and square, man. It's mine.
That kid fucking lost his ball over the fence.
Oh, my God.
Hashtag BC lost a squirrel. Look, I shot a squirrel. It was in a tree. It scampered into your tree, and now it's laying at the foot of your tree. He said, oh, man, Brett, you don't have to ask. You guys, squirrel is so good. I eat them all the time. I said, really? He said, yeah, go down to Alabama. We go squirrel hunt. I said, all right. He said, well, how are you going to cook him? You going to stew him? I said, I don't know yet. He said, anytime you shoot a squirrel, you can go back there. My dogs don't bite. Go on ahead. So I went and got the fucking squirrel. But yeah,
I think what we need to do is we need to prepare some and like dry ice it and send like a little sample platter, like a little squirrel Lunchable over to Gary.
Please don't send me a dead squirrel in the post.
Gary needs a squirrel.
We'll even like prepare it for you and like reseal it in the Lunchable package and everything.
Obviously, I love you, brother, but when you start sending me dead rodents in the post, that's the line. That's the fucking line.
Clarify for the people watching. I'm not a down south crazy person. I'm actually from up north. Shut up, Brian. I'm not, okay? I kind of got caught up. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and I bought my gun, and there was a guy who took down a deer with the same gun I have. So I was like, this gun is amazing. And so I was just watching people.
Wait, isn't it a pellet gun?
It's a pellet gun. It shoots 1,000 yards a second.
It's an air rifle.
It's an air rifle.
You can kill did the deer trip over and break its neck after it? What happened?
He shot it directly in the heart behind his leg. Shut up, Gary. He shot it in the heart behind his leg.
Did it run onto a freeway and get hit by a semi or something?
It was laughing so hard it had a brain aneurysm. Did you just try to kill me with an air gun?
Dude, these air guns could fuck a person up, though, man. Like
they would kill you. I don't know what they're laughing for. They don't know.
Some of the size of the bullets, you could. There's like 50 cal projectiles that you could shoot out of those things.
My gun is a pellet gun. It's an air rifle, but it's a break barrel. It takes a lot of pressure. That's why I had to buy Kate a different type. It's too much pressure for her to do, and it'll shoot through my wall, and it'll end up. I shot through my grill outside. I mean, both sides of the grill. It's a serious weapon. It's a real weapon. It's not like
why are you shooting the grill?
Test it out.
The squirrel was still alive.
Was there a muff on it or something that you thought was appetizing?
Yeah. Zipping around, he's just shooting everything.
You see a small spider there that looked tasty as a fucking starter. Like, what is this? What are you eating? Jesus Christ.
That's awesome, bro.
How expensive is a chicken breast in the United States? I mean, I've got no point of reference here.
We don't use squirrel a lot around here. As a matter of fact, whenever one of my kids' birthdays come around, they get to pick and choose what they want to eat for dinner, what kind of dessert. Nina.
Holy shit.
So we're having
Jesus Christ.
No
what has the world become?
It's amazing.
Oh my God.
Thanks, Obama, man. Done.
Holy shit.
That was amazing, Beastly. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Beastly.
On the topic of housekeeping, I did announce last week there will be a giveaway for the best comment on iTunes or Podbean on the upload. But unfortunately, being the detriment I spent most of the week looking at animated pornography and not uploading my clip, so it didn't go live until Thursday. So as a token of goodwill, because I love you all and I know that you have best intentions to enter our giveaway to win a free bag of dicks, you have an additional week to add your review or comment to our iTunes or our Podbean. All you got to do is put your comment up there. We'll have a look through it before next week's show, and between the hosts we'll decide who's going to be the winner. We will announce you live on show and we will hit you up through DMs, so please be looking out for that. But you have one more week to win a bag of dicks from bagofdick.com, so enjoy.
Fantastic. We love
bags out on these things.
Yeah.
They are
and yours will not play for hours at a time. Yours will
second best dick I've ever had.
It was. Briar, let me just say this. I've always strayed away from dicks, and to me it was always a taboo until last week when I put that dick in my mouth. It felt
better
very
than
nice.
you thought, wasn't it?
Very tasty too.
Yeah.
I don't know
I don't know if I'm gonna make a habit out of it, but
I'm in the same place. I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything wrong
all
with
I'm saying is I'm not gay, but $20 is $20.
Absolutely.
Hashtag Steve.
Habitual dick monster.
Hashtag Steve.
Well, I mean, they're going to remain our sponsor until Bag of Squirrels are lined up. So,
oh my God.
When bagofsquirrels.com, hit me back on the email.
Squirrel skin. Squirrel gizzards.
Such a fucked up image.
I mean, it's odd that the distributor is coming from Atlanta, Georgia, which I don't know where it's from, but someone out there shooting squirrels with a pellet gun, apparently.
Have you seen my backyard, Gary?
It's a fucking wasteland.
It sure is. It's huge.
Have you ever seen the inside of the ship from Predator 2 with all the trophies of like the
heads,
like the alien head and the Civil War head? It's like Beastly's house, man. It's just squirrel heads as far as you can see.
You think they're pool cues until you get close and realize that they're.
I mean, if you were a true hunter like Predator, you'd match the weapon for that of your prey. So surely you should go out for a squirrel with your bare hands and teeth.
They do kind of look like squirrel dicks. Chat said squirrel dicks, and you know what? They're sized appropriately.
No, they're not, Briar. I've actually skinned squirrels, and squirrel dicks are actually pretty big. I'm not going to joke around here. I mean, I was actually pretty shocked.
Can that be the title of the episode, please? Squirrel dicks are actually pretty big.
They are
Oh,
big.
we've got it.
Look, I skinned the squirrel, and when I pulled all the skin off his lower half,
Oh, come on.
2 big, gigantic balls, and I was like, what is that? That can't be the penis. The penis is like half the length of the fucking animal. I was like, wow, this guy, I shouldn't have killed him. He had a huge cock.
Suddenly,
Maybe he was just like the
Beasley's
Ron
claim
Jeremy of
about
squirrels.
the size of his own dick are come into question.
You may be onto something there.
Also, we don't have an adequate sample size of squirrels. That could have been the Ron fucking Jeremy of squirrels. That could have been like fucking with a
Listen,
member.
man, listen, let me
in the
tell you.
bunch.
Nobody's, when you take the size of his member to his body, this guy was packing a punch. Just not more than
That's what I
punch.
said. He might have literally been the like fucking.
I so bad.
Squirrel.
I felt like he was going to put a hurting on the female squirrel. Like, this guy, he shouldn't be dead right now. Damn it.
We're
Put him
gonna
in
need
the-
pictures, Beasley, and we're gonna need a larger sample size than just one squirrel dick.
Did you eat the dick and balls?
They got this. Well, I don't know if my wife ate him. Who knows? Well, you can fry anything, okay?
Where do we
You
go
just-
from there?
What fried?
Tune in
Everything-
next week to find out what small animal Beasley has been eating.
Hashtag squirrel dick. I love you guys in the comments.
Yeah, if in the comments, if you could suggest a suitable prey for Beasley to hit up, something that we think would be, a step up from squirrel, but still within his means as a huntsman, we'll
Well,
be interested to see how he gets on. We'll be doing a vlog. Beasley, would you do a vlog for us?
sure.
A squirrel hunting vlog.
I really would like to see that too, Beasley. I would like to see the hunting process and the preparation and cooking process.
It's really easy. I mean, I have a huge yard. They don't hear me come out
It's
the
funny
side
because
door.
it's very hard to imagine.
I can understand that, man.
I've got to be honest with you. I could not fucking believe it when you sent us the first tweet of a skinned squirrel, and you tagged Peter, the animal rights guys, in just for the fucking troll.
I can't believe you tagged Peter. He loves doing that. I've noticed that on Twitter. Fucking Beasley, he loves, he'll write a tweet about just about anything, and then who would be most offended by this tweet?
Mhm.
And then
Sorry.
he tags that person.
So he was embracing his inner Gary
So-
Diaz. It was something
Yeah,
Gary
you
would
gotta
do.
have a little bit of Gary in him, Briar.
But you see,
Listen,
it backfired there because
the o-
the person who was offended most didn't necessarily need to be Peter. Anyone that was tagged in that was offended.
Anybody
All
who's
of
ever
us.
eaten food was offended by that.
If you guys want to know what a skinned squirrel looks like, just watch Hellraiser, the original film, before he gets his skin. Looks just like a squirrel. Yeah, but
Or,
I'm happy you guys enjoyed it. I'll try to vlog for you guys, and I won't tag PETA in it this time.
you can
I
tag
gotta say,
whoever
I
you
think
want.
this is the best show we've ever done. I don't know, man. When I laugh this hard, I know that it was something special. I fucking appreciate you guys, man. This is a ton of
Back
fun
at
to
you,
do
buddy.
every week. This
Land
is
of
so
the free,
fun.
home of the fucking brave.
Other than out squirrel hunting and other rodent hunting, where can they find you at, Beasley?
Beastly Gamer YouTube channel or on Twitter at Beastly__. 2 underscores gamer. And find me there and keep up with all my images. I want to shoot some fucking squirrels again and skin them and cook them and send them to you with a bag of dicks.
Gary, what about yourself, man?
Mainly, you can find me on Twitter just trolling and harassing. It's Gary Diaz 86_BT, which we're undecided. I think we settled on Beastly Twink was
Yep.
the main
Absolutely what it is. We have decided.
reason for that. Or you can find me trolling Briar's YouTube comments section or moderating the Podbean and iTunes. So
Or just
you can
using
pretty
him
much.
for his personal information getter, like basically a Siri for Gary.
That too. Anywhere that I can crowdsource information, I will. It's the best way to be. Finally, last way to catch me or any of the hosts is revolvergamescast@gmail.com. That's revolvergamescast@gmail.com. We love getting emails from our viewers, and we haven't had many this week, and it's sad. So anything you want to send us, if you want to share a FAP, and you don't want to do it via Reddit, then please send us your usernames and passwords for Pornhub Premium, and we will be most appreciated.
Real quick before we leave, I wanted to just go through some of the suggestions by some of our viewers. They want me to eat a rabbit, a badger, or a beaver. I don't know if they're asking me to eat a squirrel dick, but
that's a whole other innuendo there, and they're telling you to eat beaver.
I would love to eat a rabbit. I never see them around these parts. I guess they've heard from the squirrels, don't go over there.
Can you do like kind of a turducken thing with the beaver, the badger, and the rabbit?
What about a fox?
Well,
we have foxes.
Listen,
yeah, we got foxes.
I wouldn't eat.
Foxes are cute.
I wouldn't eat a badger.
Squirrels are cute too.
One can say that they're just a large rat.
When they're fried, man. They are so cute. And I eat a beaver at least twice a week. So that's out. So, yeah. I'll see if I can find a rabbit, but beaver's old news. I've been doing that for a long time.
Where can they find you at, Briar?
You can find me on YouTube. Look up Briar Rabbit on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit. Streaming weekdays on Twitch. I try to stream some weekends as well, but life gets in the way a little bit, usually on the weekends. Or you can find me on Pornhub Premium. Just look up Briar Rabbit. You can see all of the videos I've reviewed and curated for your viewing pleasure.
Awesome! It's the first time I hear about this.
You won't find that on his PC Gamer endorsement.
That's right. You can find me on PC Gamer.
He didn't plug his Pornhub contributions on the PC Gamer article.
Forbes magazine.
Forbes fucking magazine.
Forbes fucking magazine. Well, if you guys want to shoot the shit with me on Twitter, you can find me at Ryu Wilson. That's RYU Wilson on Twitter. Hit me up. Let me know what you think of the show. Or if you just want to tweet me and say hello and talk nonsense, that's the best place to do it.
And if you guys need a friend, Wilson is the best friend you'll ever have. I mean, the guys you've known for 10 or 20 years, fuck them. Go on Twitter and holler at Ryan because Mr. Wilson is the shit. One of the best guys I've ever known. And he
Thanks, man.
So much positive energy. I love him, man. Love him to death.
Just don't play golf with friends with me, apparently.
Yeah. Fuck him when you're playing that.
So toxic.
Just made me hate him. Just made me hate him again.
And if anyone here is looking to play Destiny 2, just let us know the time and date so we can all queue up in the same time in orbit to actually get a match, because we spent at least 4 days waiting for someone else to play the game to play against the other day. So there must be someone out there playing it.
Well, for the people who don't want to play Destiny, check us out this Tuesday.
Oh, that's right.
Between 5 and 6 for Revolver Plays. We'll be playing Fortnite on PS4. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. If we do 50v50, you guys could actually join us in the match and play. And as we said before, the game is totally free, so you don't have to buy anything. Download it now. Get in there. Get your feet wet. Play the game. See if you like it. See if you can learn some new strategies for yourself. And we'll see you guys at Revolver Plays Tuesday between 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern. Let's get it.
Bye, guys. Have a great night. See you next week.
Everyone.
Code Revolver Live.
I want to be my own GIF.
We're still live. I want it to be awkward. I'm waiting.
Just embrace it.